Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 14, The Scat Situation. Scooby-Doo-Dop-Dop. Happy Thursday afternoon, boys. And Eddie, I got one thing to say to you over there in Paris. I think you're gonna like it in my city. Everybody's welcome here. You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, yeah, it's the old Thursday Night Football song, but unfortunately, I mean, I guess we're lucky that was such a bad version of it that we won't have any copyright issues. But
I thought he was having a stroke.
Yeah, well, he probably was, but that's under the desk.
Yep, you are absolutely correct. That means it is the start of Thursday Night Football with a nice little reference to, I think, what had to have been the 2017 Thursday Night Football intro song.
I think it was even... I don't even think it was that recent. I think we might be going back to like 15, 16 on that one.
But definitely the best.
100% the best. And actually, I'm now kind of excited to hear what the new song is tonight, because obviously it changes every year. So that I'll make sure that I'm tuned in on time so that I can catch the new song and rate it and see if there's no way it becomes the best Thursday night of all time, but maybe it overtakes the garbage.
Yeah, I mean, not only is it the best Thursday night song, it's the best football intro song. It's better than the Hank Williams. It's better than the Carrie Underwood. It definitely takes it down. And Sam, obviously you don't know, but it was this really random song. It was called Welcome to My City, and they would sing it every week, but then depending on who was playing, they would just interject like maybe one random line about the city they were playing. You know, like, it's really sunny in Tampa now. Like when they were playing in Tampa Bay. So it was so bad, but it was so funny.
I mean, it was Priyanka Chopra. So it was like a pretty famous person.
It's true.
And I think, didn't it feature will.i.am too? Wasn't he in there briefly? I think he like does a little rap at some point.
What, every week for the slight difference, or like the bass song and then with the...
See, I'd be interested to actually know. It's actually one of those things I'd love to know. Like, when do they record the little, like, because each time they do it, no matter which version of the song is, they have a little variation. And I don't know if what they do is they get, like, they bring the artist in, like, in, like, June, and they record every possible variation. Like, I don't know what they just do that then, or if they kind of call them and be like, hey, can you hit the studio up quickly and really, like, just do a, like, Jags versus... like Patriots quick update for us, please.
I have to think they do it really quick at once in the beginning. That would be.
But the only reason why, I mean, I guess they'd have to bring them back in, right? But there's that moment when the Thursday night, like officially the Saturday night game around Christmas is technically the Thursday night game, right? Like it gets billed as like the Thursday night crew, like they take over, and they still use that song. So for that one at least, because they don't know that one at the beginning of the season, they have to bring them back in for that.
That's true. And I guess later in the year, games get flexed, right? So for like
but that's only the Sunday ones, yeah. And they have a specific song for the Sunday night games. I don't know how they do that because they flex those pretty late sometimes.
Yeah. Well, for those who are completely living in a box, we are talking about the arrival of the NFL season starting tonight in Kansas City, which they're having fans. I don't know if you guys saw that. I think they're having about 15,000, if I saw correctly.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's really surprising.
I saw that, like, because multiple teams are complaining, right? Because they're saying, like, how can it's not a fair league if some teams are having home like fans at home and other teams aren't, and like some teams have accepted the fact that they're not going to have any this year, basically, whereas some are hoping to have full capacity relatively soon. Like if you listen to like Jerry Jones, but I mean, they're allowing them to have pumped in sound noise, right? I don't know how they're balancing, because the NFL has sent them the noise they're going to pump in. So it's like official NFL crowd noise. They haven't been allowed to make it themselves. I think like in the Premier League and the Bundesliga and stuff, those teams put together their audio. But I guess what they don't want is some team just putting up, like, you don't have much of a like home
like a team of whistles.
Well, yeah, or you like, you know, like obviously like the Chiefs and the Seahawks are like famous for having high decibel home crowds. You don't want suddenly to like attend the Dolphins game and they've got Chiefs level audio going. So I guess that's why they're doing it. But I don't know how they balance it out. Like if you got 15,000 fans in for the Chiefs, does that mean they only get the 15,000 fans sound, or do they get, in addition to that, they get to pump in their own audio? That's the bit.
So they get like 25% actual, 75% fake.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
That's going to be hard to like. You'd need like an orchestra to like do something with the kind of decibel levels.
The NFL also, I think it hasn't been officially released like what the decibel limits are, and I don't know if they varied that from team to team. I guess the logical thing, right, would be to say like, we've taken your average, that's what you're maxed at. If you're smart, because to do it the same for every team would be unfair, because like the Chargers have no atmosphere. So you can't put the situation in the Chargers like suddenly have the same atmosphere as the Chiefs.
Yeah, and it would also be unfortunate for the players where this year, you know, if the Dolphins are playing at home and they get these loud pumped in crowd noises and are kind of feeling good about themselves, and then come next year when they allow fans again and there's 4,000 people in the stadium and they're just like, oh man, this sucks again now. Like I'd rather play against the fake noise with the fake noise.
Oh, I mean, 100%. At some point, right, probably some like Chargers player is probably going to like put out an Instagram picture or like a tweet out like best home atmosphere of my Chargers career. Like at some point that's got to happen.
But what I don't get is that how disarming must it be for a player to hear a, like 80,000 seat stadium level roar, but to look around and there's like 6,000 people in there. Christ, they're bellowing this out. This is amazing. What hard.
Well, at least they won't have to. Yeah, at least they won't have to deal with that situation like in England with the Premier League, right, where they even added in like jeers. So you'd have a player
and
go
whistles and boos and
you'd have like a player on the other team go down injured, and they would be like jeers from this fake. Which I always was just like, I want to see the scenario where the player is like severely broken his leg,
and it's booing, just some like the physio coming on.
Yeah, it's just some like intern like asshole up in some booth just being like jeer button, jeer button, jeer button, and they're like, his career is over, and he's just like boo, boo.
Yeah, didn't that happen in the Bundesliga when they started it, when I think it might have been Bayern or someone like that, where they hit the side netting, but obviously the guy in charge of the sound thought it was a goal, so he just let off this massive scream.
They did it in the Premier League too. In the Premier League they did it in one game where the goal celebration went on for 30 seconds. Even though the ball had hit the side netting. And I don't know if it's one of those things that maybe once they start it, they kind of can't stop it. Like that might be the situation. Like they press the like 30-second celebration button and they're just like, oh shit. Like.
And before we get into the NFL picks, Eddie, I just want to make sure we put this out there because it's one of the greatest sports feats in probably the history of Europe. Do you know what happened yesterday, 8 years ago? Sam, you don't bother guessing because there's no way you're going to know.
Do I know what happened yesterday 8 years ago? Oh,
September 9th, 2012.
We won the Embassy softball tournament.
Exactly. One of the greatest wins in the history in the fields of Paris.
Oh, I think in the world.
Was that a Facebook memory?
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest FUs to the team that turned us down. The fact that the U.S. Embassy refused to have us on our team, we instead put together our own team, knocked them out in the quarterfinals, and then went on to win the tournament. That was one of the most satisfying moments of my life.
Well, not only first off, there was only at the time 3 of us that really wanted to play on the U.S. Embassy team. And I would argue all 3 of us were better than anyone they had on the U.S. Embassy team. Yeah, at the time, we were all very good. They refused to let us on for I don't know what reason. So Eddie contacts...
Oh, I know the reason. He responded to me. So for context, like I emailed, we heard, so we play in this like normal men's fast pitch softball league in Paris. And one of the guys who played on the Dominican team in that, he told us, like, hey, they're trying to organize this embassy softball league. We're all playing for the Dominican embassy. You guys should contact the U.S. embassy because I'm sure they'll need players. He gave me the contact email address of the guy who was organizing the U.S. team. That guy was the Air Force attaché to Paris. So like a pretty senior person within the U.S. Air Force. I sent this guy an email saying like, hey, we play in this men's fast pitch softball league. We're pretty good. And we're playing against a lot of the people who you're going to be playing against in the competition, so we kind of know we're up to standard. Do you need any extra players? He wrote back saying, we have like hundreds of Marines stationed in Paris. I don't think we need anyone else. It was the most dismissive email ever.
Wow.
And then, so we turned up. We
who did we play for? Tell them who we played for instead.
Oh, so then we contacted the guy who told me, like, you should contact the U.S. Embassy. I told him they don't want us. And he said, I think the organizer of the competition will let you put in another team as long as you represent an embassy not already participating in the tournament. So then we're like, can we just pick one, or do we need their approval? He was like, I think you probably, if they got like an embassy in Paris, you probably need them to be on board with it.
You can't just do it on their behalf.
Well, we kind of did. So because
we contacted them.
Yeah, but they didn't respond before the tournament started. But so because my mother's Guyanese, I was like, okay, why don't we do Guyana? Like, there's no way they want to put a softball team in this tournament. And they only have like one person, kind of like, they don't have an embassy. They just have the person who works at like UNESCO and the OECD is like their unofficial ambassador to France. And so I contacted the embassy in London to see if they would give us the okay. They responded once we'd already signed up, but they were totally fine with it. And then also asked us to tell them the results. So then we represented Guyana. We got our like Guyanese provided uniforms and won the tournament. Probably the greatest, outside of cricket, probably the greatest Guyanese sporting achievement of all time.
That could actually be a pretty good argument, but I'll never forget because we played the Americans in the quarterfinals on the end of the first day, because it was a 2-day tournament. On the end of the first day, we played the Americans and we blew them out of the water. Well, I specifically remember we were up pretty good. And then I remember Tim got up and hit an absolute bomb of a home run. And then I got up next and hit like an even further bomb of a home run. And at that point, we were just piling it on. And I remember us like all cheering very sarcastically and really aggressively just to really rub it into this team that wanted nothing to do with us as we're hitting moonshots over their outfielders.
You're also forgetting, right? We played them in the opening game of our group stages and we lost to them.
Pretty badly.
It was our only defeat of the tournament, and they were really cocky assholes when they beat us. Yeah. Now the tournament that didn't work well for us. That was a really early morning game, and that did not.
I don't think we even had our full team, and we were really tired and hungover.
You were out drinking, weren't you? I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And but when we beat them, I remember too. Like probably in like the 5th inning, I was coaching third base, and it was in front of their dugout, and their like coach came out, and he walked up to me as the third base coach, and he was like, this is a fucking joke. You guys are all fucking American anyway. And I was like, actually, you know what? We only have 3 Americans on this team. Like most of these guys who you think are American, they're not. Like including myself. Like you're definitely categorizing, like you're putting me in the American category. And I was like, I'm not American. He was like, yeah, you're American. And I was like, nope, sorry, not. And I was like, it's just those 3 people, including basically the only people who mattered were you and Tim in the American standpoint. Like, I guess we had 4, right? Because we also had Carissa and Chelsea, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was our American representation in the tournament. So, and I don't think they were complaining, with all due respect to Carissa and Chelsea, but I don't think they were complaining that we had Carissa and Chelsea on the team.
Yeah, and then we beat the Dominicans in actually it was the semis we beat them, right?
Yeah, because the final was the anticlimax. Because we we had a classic against the Dominicans. Like we squeaked it out against them. And that was the final. And then we played the Cubans. Was it the Cubans or the rest of the world?
Yeah, and then we crushed them.
No, it was the rest of the world because the Cubans got thrown out of the tournament because the Cubans got in there. One guy got in a like huge fight with the umpire, and the Cubans were disqualified from the tournament.
And the other good thing was the Dominicans are known for being very poor sports and also very cocky. They think they're like the greatest at softball in Paris, and they consider themselves heavily favored. And we beat them, and they were so pissed they didn't even show up for their third place game. That's how pissed they were.
I mean, in fairness, Frank, they are the best at softball in Paris, so their confidence is justified. And if we had been setting odds before the game, they were heavy favorites.
I would have Love to have been on a sideline, like running a book on the games. It would have been.
Oh, they would have been. My guess is the Dominicans would have been like 1 to 4 pregame favorites.
Yeah, and then the only thing that rivaled the win of the tournament was the post celebrations after. It was almost as if France had won the World Cup, the way we took our trophy and paraded it through the streets of Paris from bar to bar. And I'll never forget, because it was as if we were professional athletes. Like, we would go into a bar and they would take us behind the bar, and we would be doing like shots and drinks behind the bar. Then they would fill it up with either beer or champagne, this big ass trophy, and we would just chug from the trophy. And we went to at least 4 bars doing that, and then ended up at the bar we always would end up at, and just had like an epic night.
Oh, and people took pictures with us. When we were walking on the street a few times, people stopped us and asked, like, what have you won? Because we were carrying the trophy. The trophy was like decently impressive. We also all had our medals around our neck for the entire evening, and we were still wearing our like team t-shirts. My favorite part was we had to take this public bus back from where the diamonds were to like where we could get back into Paris, because it was outside of Paris. And we got into this public bus, and there was only one other guy on it, who was a guy in a suit in his like 50s or 60s, and we all just piled onto this bus and proceeded to loudly like celebrate and drink on the bus. This guy was supposed to, obviously he'd planned out like taking this quiet public bus on a Sunday afternoon, and the look on his face for the like 20 minutes we were on the bus with him, I have never seen someone more miserable in their lives.
In fact, we have that very picture, and I'll post it up on our Instagram so everyone can see.
He wants to look like wants to kill himself, but for sure before he kills himself, he wants to kill all of us first.
He's taking down the bus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was 8 years ago. We're coming up on the 10-year anniversary. We should probably
we gotta get the team back together.
See if they want to do a 30 for 30.
Yeah. Was there a British team?
What if I told you a group of ragtag Americans joined together to beat every embassy in Paris?
I'll change my top 5 sports movie, because that's the film Miracle, right?
Yeah, it's better than Miracle. And we had a few good motivational speeches going into it too.
So it's kind of a blend of Miracle, Any Given Sunday, and Gladiator.
Yeah, with also like that Happy Gilmore element, right? Because we did have to teach a couple people how to swing a bat in order to be on the team. So there's that element of it too.
The production value here is fantastic. I'm really seeing something good if we're combining like Gladiator with Happy Gilmore.
What Eddie was speaking on, that's how top loaded of a team we were, that the bottom of our order, we had 2 or 3 people that could barely swing a bat, that we just needed to fill spots for, that were automatic outs, and we were still dominating teams, like absolutely dominating.
We also had, it was a slow pitch tournament. We normally played fast pitch. It was a slow pitch mixed tournament. We had a pitcher who got the yips and who could not pitch slow pitch. So he kept walking people in slow pitch softball. And I was would go up to him. We'd have to call for time and go to consult with him and just be like, just lob it over the plate. Like, you're not trying to strike him out. Just get the ball in play. That's all. Like, trust your defense and get the ball in play. And then he'd be like, okay, I got it.
Well, the other thing too was he would always argue that it was really difficult to do. He's like, guys, it's not as easy as it looks. And it's like, no, it is as easy as it looks. And I would take the ball and just do like 4 tosses that would be perfectly over the plate. Like, this is very simple. You're literally lobbing it over the plate. It's not difficult.
Yeah, it's underarm tossing a ball. It's like the easiest form of catch imaginable.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that should bring us into the main American sport, American football. Week 1 has finally arrived in what seems like to me, actually everyone keeps saying it's been forever, but to me it's really quick because we haven't had any preseason or anything. So it's like it just came right up on us.
I mean, the world has literally collapsed, right? Since the Super Bowl, the world has literally collapsed.
True. It's been a long 8 months. So first game, we have Chiefs-Texans tonight. So that should be pretty fun, entertaining game. You have 2 of the top paid QBs now in the league. I've cleared out my entire schedule, did everything this morning, so I can hang out, order some wings, maybe a pizza. I was going to do nachos, but I don't have any meat to top the nachos with. So I thought, then what's the point of making nachos? Right?
Oh, God.
Fair. Absolutely fine. Just let him have it and move on. What next, Frank?
I don't know. I think, why don't we get into the football? And I think what was our plan this year to have us each do all of our picks for each game, who's going to win, and the spread, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess we may as well start with the Thursday night game. It's obviously, too, it's interesting, right? Because it's obviously normal for the Thursday night for the season to kick off with the Super Bowl, defending Super Bowl champions playing. But the fact that this is a rematch of a playoff game on their way to winning the Super Bowl makes it even more interesting. And in the game in which they came back from 24 down, it's kind of an interesting one to see if the Texans can kind of have a little bit of a revenge, even though they made probably the worst offseason move of any team. But I don't want to tip my hat on what my pick is going to be.
Wasn't there a game like 4 seasons ago, maybe, where the Super Bowl was actually the first game of the next season?
All right, Sam. So you have all the spreads and stuff, right?
Yeah, I got the data.
Cool.
So
you got the data.
All right, let's do this. So we'll do straight up and point spread. So Texans Chiefs. I got Chiefs -9.5. So let's start with Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, I think 9.5 is like just about right on the spread. Like the Texans are a decent team, so it's a little bit daunting to take 9.5 points against like a pretty good team. Because if you assume that the Texans have the ability to score maybe 24 points, but then when you kind of mentally work it out and you assume the Chiefs are going to average like 30 to 35 points a game, I will take them. I will take the Chiefs, both obviously straight up and with the spread. I think the Texans are, the fact that they lost their main, they lost Hopkins. Like it's hard for me to think that they've in any way closed the gap. And in a way, like everything about the Chiefs, I know they lost like that one member of their offensive line because he opted out, right? That French Canadian guy who's the neurologist, who I think was their left tackle or something. But at the same time, they like drafted that running back who looks really scary. So I think that they're just going to be even faster and even more dominant offensively. So I'll take the Chiefs both spread and straight up.
Yeah, I mean, they can lose almost all the players they want, but as long as they still have Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill, I mean, it's their offense is just dominant. 4 or 5 people on that offense. Their offense could literally be the whole Pro Bowl. Their specialty players. I definitely would go Chiefs money line. The issue with 9.5 is it's definitely over that one score. So it's tough because I almost don't like betting a team to win by 9.5 because then it takes away from the fun of watching the game, where that would mean that they have to be up 2 or 3 scores. And then it's like, why am I even bother watching anymore? I'd rather watch a really close game to the end. But I think that the Chiefs -9.5 is a pretty solid pick. I think they'll put up 40, and no way the Texans can put up 30.
Okay. I'll keep mine a little bit simpler. I'll go Chiefs money line, but I think I hate backing a team on a spread to win by double digits. I hate it. And I know 9.5 is literally same by 10, so it's the lowest you can possibly be. But as Eddie said, I think over 2 scores, they're a good enough team. Slow starts, first game of the seasons can happen. I just think 9.5 is too much. So I'm going to go Chiefs, but I'm going to go plus. I'm going to take the Texans. So I'll do the plus 9.5. So we've already got some difference, which is good. All right, next up. Probably one of the more interesting teams for right or wrong reasons is the Dolphins at the Pats. So what do you all think about a very new look Patriots team?
Well, what's the spread?
Yeah, that's a good bit of knowledge. 6.5 to the Pats, so -6.5.
Yeah, I mean, this to me is more of a bet against the Dolphins than it is me being fully confident the Pats are still going to be the dominant Pats they are. I just don't have any confidence in the Dolphins until they prove otherwise. I mean, they didn't add much to the team. Who you have Fitzmagic. That's my only worry is Fitzmagic loves to do these early season amazing wins. So that I guess is a little bit of a worry, especially when Eddie's going to pick. But I have to think they have to prove me wrong. So I'll go Pats and then Pats with the spread as well. I don't think that's that outrageous of a spread against a Dolphins team that might only win 4 games this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the Pats straight up and with the spread. I wouldn't have total confidence in it because I guess the Patriots are one of maybe the team with the most turnover this year, not necessarily in number, but in terms of significance of the turnover. And so it'd be one of those games where I kind of like to see how they look for a couple of weeks before really being confident. That being said, I agree with Frank. Like it's more of a pick against the Dolphins, who I know picked up towards the back end of last season, and they really look like they rallied, with the. But still, they're not going to be that good this year. So you have to assume if the Patriots are going to be halfway decent, this has to be one of those ones that they're going to win. And Frank's also right. I have been burned in the past by, famously once. I guess that was 2 years ago when Fitzpatrick won in week 1, and he beat the Saints. I think that was the game. He beat the Saints in week, and it was my one loss in my bet. And I said to Frank at the time, like, he was amazing in that game, right? And then I said to Frank, like, he's going to be terrible next week. Like this, I know how this works. Like, and he was awful. But he's that quarterback. Like, in a given, if he plays 16 games, he's going to have 4 great games. He's going to have 4 great games. He's going to have 6 absolutely terrible ones.
Did you know he's really smart and has a ton of kids?
Yeah.
And he's really quirky.
He's so quirky.
Did you know that, Eddie? All right, Sam, what's your pick?
I don't really disagree with any of your logic, so I'll go Pats and the -6.5. As much as the Pats are in a bit of a transition at the moment, if they're even at best, if they're inconsistent, I still fancy them beating the Dolphins by a touchdown. So I'm going Pats -6.5. I think that was one of the, I would say, easier ones, but I think the Patriots could have had a harder game to kick things off, or to have more of a struggle in opinion with. Next game might be a bit more interesting. But
I'll say to everyone, don't I guess on paper it looks one of the easier ones, right? But people shouldn't pencil this in. Like, this is not the Patriots team from the last 20 years. So it's one of those where you do in the back of your, like, there is every chance that a week from now they've lost and they looked terrible. And we're like, we should have known. They did lose a lot of defensive players. Their wide receivers are not good. And Cam Newton is Cam Newton, and he's not Tom Brady. It's a new system for him. They didn't have a full preseason. Like, you can imagine the scenario in which they've lost this game. So I would say on paper looks one of the easier ones because you're thinking of it historically, but there is that risk that Monday morning we feel that we could have. There were lots of reasons to think that this could have been one of those upsets.
Yeah, and if you listen to our NFL preview, which if you didn't, definitely go back and listen to it, episode 12. We all picked the Bills to win this division. So we all do assume exactly kind of at least some of what Eddie's saying, where they're not going to be the Patriots of old. And, maybe they sneak into the playoffs, but I think we all agreed that the Bills were the better team for this division right now.
All right. Browns at the Ravens. And the Ravens are straight up by a touchdown. So 7. I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
I'm gonna go first. Yeah, let's do this. So I'm gonna pick the Ravens to win. Basically because I think the seasons last year for these teams were interesting because obviously there was a lot of confidence around the Browns and they didn't deliver, and the Ravens, there was not as much expectation, in my opinion, that they would do, as well or as much as they did. And then I think it's slightly flipped, but I also agree with Eddie's opinion that maybe that hype, again from the preview, that hype was maybe like a year too early. So I'm still going to take the Ravens by a score. I don't really like the 7 because it introduces a push So I prefer when it's 0.5s, but I'm going to take the Ravens -7. I don't think much has changed with them, and I just think they're better than the Browns for that reason. So I'm going to go Ravens -7.
Well,
That
I'll
makes
make my
sense.
prediction.
I want to go first, actually, because
You're
I
gonna steal my
talked to-
joke.
I'm probably going to steal some.
You're gonna
aspect of
steal
your
my joke.
But like I might want to walk back the hype train being one year too early on the Browns, because the thing we didn't realize when we made those predictions was that Odell Beckham likes people taking a shit on his face, and he likes to carry that from his private life onto the field, and that's the thing we didn't know about him. So, maybe he's looking forward to the idea of Lamar Jackson and the Browns just taking a massive dump all over him this weekend.
Wait, what's the new story? Is that literally it, or have you somehow paraphrased
No, that's
this
pretty
thing?
much the story. So it's similar, actually.
It's actually a little worse. It's a little worse than that because there's two aspects.
Yeah.
Okay.
A few weeks ago when we spoke about, there was this girl on a podcast who spoke about how she'd blown all of the Phoenix Suns. There was a similar reveal. I think it might have been the same podcast, but if not, it was copying the same format.
I'm almost positive it's the same podcast, that it basically just has a lot of Instagram celebrities and other people who seem to socialize, let's say, a lot with professional athletes and famous people. So they have pretty good insider stories that I guess they've never signed a non-disclosure agreement for. And that's probably going to start to change pretty soon.
Yeah. And so basically, Sam, the story was this girl revealed that Odell Beckham Jr. had flown her in and then his request was that she not wear underwear for 24 hours and not wash herself in that 24-hour period. She sent him a video of her pooping before this, and then that when his request was that then she pooped in his mouth on his face, during sex, which she then said she didn't do. Now here's the thing:
he requested it.
Yeah, here's the thing is, I believed the Phoenix Suns one. I don't know if I believe this one. This one feels to me a little bit like this is easy. Like, we say something like, if you're going to pick someone in the NFL, if I was going to make this rumor up about anyone in the NFL, I think Odell Beckham would probably be the one, because he might be the most famous. Outside of Mahomes, he's probably the most famous football player, and he might even be more famous than Mahomes. And it just seems with Odell Beckham Jr., like, you could kind of believe anything that gets linked to him, which kind of makes him different from a lot of players. If it is true, my biggest issue with it isn't so much that Odell Beckham likes to, has a poop fetish. My bigger issue with
fetish, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not down with the
sorry,
official terminology. Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to offend you. But
we are people too, Eddie.
But I didn't. Have you ever seen Odell at one of your Scat Anonymous meetings? I guess you can't say.
Not so anonymous, right?
But my bigger issue is that, and look, I don't want to be out here judging how women look. I don't want to turn us into one of those podcasts. But she was not attractive, though. So if Odell Beckham Jr. is flying in people who look like that to poop on him, the first thing he needs to do is raise his standards.
Isn't it to do with
Eddie? Wait.
Hang on, no. That would be more to do with people having the willingness to do it. I think you're going to have to.
I think Odell Beckham. If Odell Beckham Jr. is into this, I think Odell Beckham Jr. could get. There are thousands of women who would be lining up to poop on Odell Beckham Jr.'s face.
Yeah, but here's the difference, Eddie. Maybe she wasn't the most attractive face-wise, but maybe her shitting was just 10 out of 10, because she did send the video, and she said she made the video as sexy as she could of her defecating. So how do you not know that maybe her face is a 5 or a 6, but maybe down below that, the show she put on, that's a 10 out of 10. You don't know.
Well, here's the thing I'll say, Frank. I'm not a scat man, but
sing it, Eddie.
But even though I'm not a scat man, if my option was sleeping with her, watching her poop might be the thing I would go for.
I love how all you can say is poop.
I mean, sorry. Watching her take a massive shit. Is that better? Do you want me to be really aggressive with my description of it?
Isn't like, I assume that there was a bit of diet control before this from Beckham Jr. as well. It's not like I want you to eat a massive burrito 24 hours before you come see me.
You'd think if you're going to want it, you're going to want a big one, right?
Yeah, and well,
high fiber diet for 48 hours before you.
I don't understand why the 24-hour thing links in though.
I think he just wants it stinky.
Not showering for 20
He wants it stinky.
But not showering for 24 hours doesn't make your shit stinky.
Well,
he wants her.
It's COVID-19.
He wants her ass stinky, Frank. He wants her ass stinky. But I mean, here's the thing. And really what I also don't get is like, and maybe Sam, you're more into this community in a way, right?
For fuck's sake, what?
Maybe. How do you get into that? Like, how do you figure out that's your thing?
I don't know. Why would I have any sort of illusions as to that?
I don't know. In your degenerate community circles you run in.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So you don't want to be that kind of podcast that maybe goes against women in terms of like looks.
I don't want to look.
I'm happy to call my society degenerate.
Yeah. Look, I will not be. I never want to be misconstrued as a misogynist. You know, I never ever wanted that, but I will happily slander homosexuals.
I personally don't think it's a coincidence that Odell Beckham Jr. likes this when there is a sex move known as a Cleveland steamer.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's the other reason. It's set up like they're the Browns, there's the Cleveland steamer, like every possible
endless
joke. It's just, and that is almost the other reason. It's either the perfect storm or it's someone's made it up thinking, because here's the thing is I saw he kind of reacted, right? Like he's kind of reacted on Instagram a couple times with mostly just like laughing emojis and kind of made jokes about himself.
No, did you hear? No, this is his post.
Emoji.
He goes, no, he said, can't knock me off my pivot, ... no matter what shit's thrown my way. Hot, like, and then
brackets preferably in my mouth.
Well, it's impossible to react to that one, right? Because is that a guy who's just like, whatever, this is nonsense? Or is it a guy who's just like, yeah, I am into that, who cares?
Oh, I don't think you could ever say that publicly.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, Eddie, let's just backtrack. How many other famous celebrities have ever confessed this publicly?
Well, here's the issue. If I were working for his PR team, and he told me like, how am I going to react to this? I would basically tell him, just turn it into a joke, because if you deny it, it's not going to change anything. If you deny it, Richard Gere,
play it down as much as possible.
Richard Gere has spent the last 20 years, 30 years denying that he likes gerbils up his ass, and no one cares. If you mention gerbil, people mention Richard Gere, and probably people saying that don't even know who Richard Gere is.
I'm so glad that
or hamsters,
my grandma said she started to download this podcast now.
Oh,
This is a great one for her to start on.
Yeah, good way to kick it off, right? So
if you want, I'll insert a content warning before we preview the Browns game.
We'll just call this one the steamer situation.
but I do love how. So he posted up another Instagram post today, and it was something like, crazy thing life taught me is before you get one win, you got to take 1,000 losses. And the comment section for the rest of this season, at least, is just riddled with things like,
Frank,
got to get that shit off your chest, grind season now, got to bounce back after all that shit they put you through, clear your mind, get all this shit off your chest. Real shit, 100%. You're worried about the wrong Browns. Like, it's just doo-doo Browns. This is one shitty situation.
How many of those are Freddie Kitchens?
You keep shitting on them. It's just like nonstop.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's the rest of his life. He's the poop guy for the rest of his life. There's no, it's going to be,
you know
like,
what? Do you know what else doesn't help?
It's going to be two things about Odell. Odell's going to retire, and people are going to be like, wow, amazing catches, and he likes being shat on. Like, those are the two things now that was going to define him.
It also doesn't help that he's been, I don't know what the right way to say this is. Like, it's been very mysterious as to, like, his partners and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, he never publicly comes out, except I think now he has a girlfriend. But for like the past 3 or 4 years, the big thing was that secretly everyone knows Odell Beckham Jr. is gay.
Well, didn't he post a picture when he was in like Monaco or something with a girl and there was Coke?
Yeah.
Didn't he also have that one where he like put an Instagram post up and there was like Coke in the like a line of Coke in the background or something?
So it doesn't help that he has like this promiscuousness. Is that a word? I don't know.
Yes, sort of. Close enough.
Kind of. Close enough.
It can be.
He's Prometheus. You're right. But
yes.
The real issue is like, how difficult is that for his girlfriend? Like, not even talking about it from the context of whether or not like it was cheating, but now you have to assume, right? Like, if he's really into this, if it's true that she's done it, like if you're one of her friends or if you're meeting her, you would have to be like, have you pooped on him?
Do you do it? Yeah, it's got to become something now, isn't it?
I mean, if you're her parents, you know she's dating Odell, you got to be picturing in your mind, like, I think my daughter like shits on Odell Beckham Jr.
I would just ask at the dinner table. I think that would be fantastic conversation.
The way you bring it up is like you'd invite them
chocolate
over for
ice
dinner.
cream.
No, you'd be like, is there enough fiber in this meal for the two of you? Or like, do we need to throw in some more?
I just say like, hey, we got a new soft serve ice cream machine. Odell, you want to lay underneath it and we'll put some chocolate down on your chest?
Yeah. Maybe that was
all right, Eddie. So you never actually told us your pick, Eddie.
What was your pick? Are they going to
my pick is going to be, I mean, here's the thing is, I kind of already talked up the Browns last week in the NFL preview, right? I think they're going to be significantly better this year just because of the fact that not having someone with an IQ under 60 as their head coach is going to help them. But and also when you look back at last year, right, the Ravens-Browns games, even when the Browns were close. They beat the Ravens once. I'm going to take the Ravens to win, but I'm going to take the Browns with the points.
Yeah, I'll make it really simple. I'm going to do exactly what Eddie said. Ravens to win, Browns with the points. I do not think the Browns will get shit on. So,
at least not till after the game.
Yeah.
Or halftime if they're lucky.
Hell of an after party, right? All right.
Yeah, I mean, he'll fit in. You know, there'll be, like when they put the goggles on, when they win a championship, they're spraying the champagne. You'll just have Odell come out with goggles on, just smeared in brown.
All right, back to it. Jets are the Bills. The Bills are 6.5-point favorites.
This to me is surprising that the Bills are only 6.5-point favorites. I don't know what the Jets have done this offseason or what the Jets have done the past 2 seasons to warrant this versus a team that made the playoffs last year, has gotten better in the offseason, and by all accounts is having a great, not preseason, but before season workouts, things like that. So I'm pretty heavily in on the Bills to win and the Bills with the points.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I guess the only argument for the Jets, right, is that when Sam Darnold is fit and healthy, their record is pretty good. So I guess that's the only thing you could say for them. But yeah, they don't look like they're a happy team. So it's hard to imagine them. I'll make it easy. I obviously spoke up the Bills in the preseason preview, and I'll take the Bills both ways.
Episode 12, go check it out.
Yeah, I don't disagree with either. I think actually it's one of the best kind of bets is taking the Bills with the spread of 6.5. So yeah, I'm doing exactly the same as you guys. Raiders at the Panthers.
I'll try and save us time on this. I think this is the second least interesting game, or second, like however I'm going to express that properly. I think 2 just dull teams, and I am going to take the Raiders.
I forgot to tell you the Panthers are Raiders are 3-point favorites.
Yeah, I'll take the Raiders with the points and to win, and that's more of a pick against the Panthers than it is a pick for the Raiders. I think they're both bad, but I'm going to assume the Panthers are worse.
Frank? Yeah, I'm going to do the same. Like I said in our preview, it's just really strange to me that you have a Panthers team without Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, and Greg Olson. I mean, that was their identity, and now you're kind of just left with McCaffrey, and I don't think he can carry teams, but to carry basically a minor league team, I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't really like the Vegas Raiders that much, but 3 isn't that huge of a spread, so I'll take Vegas, and I'll take Vegas to win with the points.
Okay, I'm going the same as well. Oh, it just sounds like I'm waiting for you two to say something and copy, so I'll go first.
You went first once.
That's true. I'll go first again.
That's what she said.
Seahawks, not to me. Seahawks at the Falcons, and the Seahawks are 2.5-point favorites. I really like this. I'm going with the Seahawks and the 2.5-point spread. I actually rate their chances this year, and I don't really rate the Falcons. So I'm going Seahawks 2.5 points.
I'm going to mix things up here because I know I've got to pick some upsets at some point. No, Frank looks unhappy because it was going to be his upset pick too. Not that it's a huge upset, but you got to pick a couple of surprises. And I think the Falcons have so many weapons on offense. I think the Seahawks are obviously going to be really good this year, but I think this is one where I think the Falcons are going to be good, and I think it's maybe a decent matchup for them. I mean, obviously they're starting, right? I mean, that's the thing, right? Aren't all of their 11 offensive players, aren't they all former first-round picks? I'm going to take the Falcons straight up and with the 2.5 points.
Yeah, slightly stole my thunder, but I've never been the hugest Seahawks fan in terms of picking them. They seem to disappoint me in games when I pick them, and then when I pick against them, they seem to play really well and either cover the spread or win outright. So I'll continue going against them and have them keep beating me to the ground. I do like the Falcons. I think they're going to have a better year this year. It's just for some reason the Falcons, like Eddie said, they have a great team on paper, but whether it's injuries or just weird mistakes in game, they never get like a good flow of wins. They'll usually start really crappy and then pick up and win like 5 in a row. But if this year they can just get on pace and play a full season with a full team, I think they could be pretty competitive, at least in a division. So I'll go Falcons.
It's a tough one too, right? Because in my mind, I always think of this Falcons still as like the Kyle Shanahan Falcons, and just being so explosive and so dangerous. And since Shanahan left, they haven't looked the same. So there is that thought in my mind of like, is it like an old image of the Falcons that you keep projecting? I do agree with you. Like, I expect Seattle to be good, and Seattle does the same thing to me every year almost, which is early on, I doubt them. By the middle of the season, they win me over. And then when I decide to start betting on them is the moment when they start blowing weird games. So they'll spend like 6 weeks just convincing me they're great. And then by the time they convince me, the wheels come off a little bit for them. But yeah, I'm going to stick with the Falcons.
So Eagles at Washington football team, and the Eagles.
Wait, did you make a pick there, Sam?
Yeah, I did. I did Seahawks and.
Okay. Oh yeah. You went. I forgot you went first. Yeah.
And now he's kicking himself because now he's heard us both pick the Falcons.
No. If anything,
it's good for him.
One of the better ones because it's a close game where I'm the only one going that way. So actually, that works.
This is how Sam the Squid is going to be up on us next.
No. We have to say this is not Sam the Squid picking. We should have said that.
He's more. Yeah, he's much more
Sam
informed.
Picking.
Yeah,
I am more informed.
Definitely Sam picking.
That being said, if Sam the Squid was to have a team, Seattle would be it, right? They named their NHL team the Kraken.
Seattle
big fishing place, the Seattle Squids. That's where Sam would go to live.
Under the sea.
But it's meant to be like London, right?
Yeah, not too dissimilar.
Eagles at Washington football team. Eagles are -6 favorites, which I don't know about you two, but that surprised me that was lower than it. I thought you would have been looking at over a touchdown at least, kind of like about 8.5. But so for that reason, I was always going to go Eagles as much as they're not a fantastic outfit and they have really good offensive weapons, but Washington just have absolutely nothing going for themselves this season, right? I don't know what you guys think, but I'm going Eagles and cover the spread of 6. So.
Yeah, same for me. And again, it's a kind of a pick against Washington more than it is a pick for Philadelphia. That being said, I picked the Eagles to win the division. So if the Eagles are going to win the division, they definitely have to win this game. But yeah, I think Washington will end up being one of the worst teams in the league, and I do think this is one of those early season spreads where if this game was replayed like 4 weeks from now, the Eagles would be 10, 11, 12-point favorites. So I think that's one of those it's going to really change. But yeah, it's Eagles both ways for me.
Yeah, I mean, Dwayne Haskins versus Carson Wentz. And what, 2.5 points you said? So basically almost like a toss-up, a one-score game.
No, 6 points.
6 points.
Oh, 6 points. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I still take the Eagles pretty easily on that. But, Carson Wentz experience, as long as he doesn't get injured, the pregame warm-ups, which he might, you have to take him over Haskins. The only interesting thing we'll be able to see Chase Young for the first game, and it'll be cool to see if he's as good in the pros as he was in college. I mean, he was just straight dominant in college where he would tear up offensive lines and quarterbacks. So that'll be an interesting part. Maybe he'll be the one that knocks Carson Wentz out this season because he gets knocked out just about every season. But for now, I'll go Eagles to win, Eagles with the points.
All right. Frank, going straight to you for this one because your Lions pick. Bears at the Lions. Lions are 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I tipped the Lions as my pick to win their division in our preview, and I think this is a game that they definitely need to win if they want to do that. So I'm going to stick with the Lions to win. I don't think 2.5 is very much. I think they have more weapons, better team, and I think the Lions defense is going to be much improved this year with Patricia finally getting the players he needs and the system in place. I think the team will buy in, and I think we're going to see a decent Lions team this year. So Lions to win, Lions with the spread.
And I'm going to be the total opposite. I'm not buying the Lions at all. I don't think the Bears are good, but I just don't think the Lions, the little bit of hype that's going on surrounding the Lions, I really don't get it. And I definitely don't get anyone having any faith in Matt Patricia. That's for sure. But yeah, so I'm going to take Bears plus the point with the points and also to win.
Is this hype surrounding the Lions just me at our podcast? Because I haven't heard anything else.
I've heard it elsewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Reading some articles and stuff, a lot of people, they've been talking about the fact that Matthew Stafford is fully healthy. He had surgery and stuff, and he's coming back, and it's going to be the old Matthew Stafford. I've had a few people, maybe not your level of confidence. I've not seen very many people tipping them to win the division, but I've definitely seen a lot of people saying that they maybe will sneak into the playoffs.
Okay. Well, actually, this was one of my ones where I was going against favorites as well. So actually, I'm in Eddie's camp here. I've over the years that I've bet on NFL, most of my bets go down because of something the Lions do, and I hate them for it. And I've always had such a negative view on them, but also I just never really see them. I don't know, maybe this is a bit crude, but I never really see them do much else except kind of do average. I just think they're an average team, and first game of the season, I kind of like the idea of going with the Bears on a plus. And as Eddie said, there's always some games where you think you have to go against maybe what their logic is. So I'm going to go with the Bears and a 2.5 as well.
So my question is, though, if all they need is average, do you think it really takes, if all they play is average, is it really going to take above average to beat the Chicago Bears?
Did you see Mitch Trubisky throwing balls through targets or whatever he was doing in the offseason? I think this is going to be the year of Mitch.
Are you sure you aren't watching the intro to Friday Night Lights with Matt Saracen throwing into his
which stage?
Tire?
When he was angry throwing it through the tire when he couldn't do it, or later on in the season when he could?
When his father wasn't there, when he was better.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, no. I think Mitch Trubisky doesn't see out the season because I think Nick Foles eventually wins that job. Like, it's kind of crazy to me in a way that they're sticking with Mitch. Like that feels to me a little bit like they're not realizing it's just like sunk cost, right? They just have to move on and realize they blew a pick and kind of try and get better. But I think Nick Foles by the end of the season is a starter, but I don't think Mitch Trubisky is as bad as people are making out that he is. And there's still a lot of other talent elsewhere on that Bears team. So I think they're better than the Lions. That's all I'm saying. I don't think either one of them is a playoff team. I don't think either one of them is great, but the Bears are better than the Lions is kind of what I'm going on right now.
Okay. Colts at the Jaguars, and the Colts are 8-point favorites. I tip the Colts to win the division. I think they're going to be pretty good and have a good offense with Rivers as well. So I am going the Colts. I'm a bit umming and ahhing about 8 because I think the Colts will win the division, but by a mile, that's one of the weaker divisions, right? I don't think they're that great, that they're in with a playoff shout for sure. But I just don't like that spread. But I think I'll probably say they cover it. So I'd probably go with the Colts and -8.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, I picked the Colts to win the division too. And like you, if that spread was like 6.5, I would love it. But the fact that it is over the touchdown is a little bit of a worry. But I think the Jags may be the worst team in the league. So I think the Colts, A, will win the division, and B, are definitely a solid playoff team. They should have been solid. If they hadn't been hit by so many injuries last year, they would have been a playoff team. So I'm gonna take them to cover the spread and to win the game.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you guys. I'm just struggling a little bit with the spread. I think the Colts will win. Can Phillip Rivers beat teams consistently by more than one score? I don't know. But for now, I'll say yes, just because I love seeing Phillip Rivers get aggressive when he wins. So I'll go them to cover as well.
That's the fear too, right? It's the Phillip Rivers. Like I think Rivers is done fundamentally.
Yeah.
And so the fear is kind of in the same way, talking about like, how do you feel the next day after you've picked the Patriots? And there were all those reasons to not do it. This is one of those when you pick the Colts and then you'll be like midway through the game and Phillip Rivers will just look awful. And you'll be like, I knew Phillip Rivers is done.
Well, when I think about that, the thing I struggle with is Jacoby Brissett didn't have a terrible year last year, right? He was decent.
Yeah, he was fine.
He was decent. And if they're putting Phillip Rivers ahead of him, without even a controversy really, then he must be playing pretty decently, because otherwise you have Brissett, who's a pretty good quarterback, above average. I mean, you could put him in your top 15, 20 in the league. So if that's the case, he must be playing at a top 10, 15 level quarterback to not even have an argument. I haven't even heard of a controversy whether, one should be starting over the other. It's been just pretty cut and dry that Rivers is the starter. So maybe he isn't as bad as we thought he was.
Maybe, but it's kind of also like drafting a quarterback in the first round. Like, you've brought in this free agent quarterback. He knows a lot of their coaching staff and their offensive coordinator really well. So I think he was obviously always going to be starting. But you are right. There's been no murmurs at all of, maybe Jacoby Brissett should be. But then that overall, right, in the league, you have fewer rumors like that. And that might just be because of the fact that there's been no preseason. Media aren't allowed into the training in the same way that they have been in the past. Like, right, there's no media access. So it might just be that there's no way for rumors and for those things to leak out anyway. So that might just be one of those things where by week 3, we get some anonymous Colts sources saying, oh yeah, even in the preseason, we had our doubts, but we thought we'd give Phil Rivers his chance.
Yeah, no, that's definitely could be the case. You're right.
But I think the Colts are good. They have a lot of weapons, right? Phil Rivers, Rivers only has to be average for the Colts to be pretty good. And he can be slightly below average and they'll still beat the Jags. This is a game where all Phil Rivers has to do is not lose the game for them. And there's every possibility that he throws like 3 pick sixes and it's just terrible. And you just get Phil Rivers like ripping his helmet off and screaming with his beat face, just like running towards the sideline, screaming at people and blaming like the running back for why he just threw an interception. But still, he just has to be average and they're winning this.
All right. Packers at the Vikings, and Vikings are 2.5-point favorites. Frank.
This is a tough one. Yeah. I mean, this could go either way, right? I'm never sold on the Packers. Last year, we talked about this in the preview. They were 13-3, and I didn't think they were a 13-3 team, maybe 10-6 at best. I do like the Vikings. I like Cousins. I don't know why. I think he's better than people say he is. They did lose Diggs, but they replaced him pretty well with their draft pick. I'm going to stick with the Vikings. I'm still just not sold on the Packers. Rodgers will do well, but his offense around him isn't as great as what it used to be. And I mean, I guess the issue could be now that the coach has been there for a full year now. You know, maybe they're kind of gelling together a little bit and they've got their systems in place. But I'll go Vikings to win and Vikings with the points.
I'm going to do both, and I'm going to say that this is the pick I'm the least confident about because there is every chance. Like, I think the Vikings will be good. I think the Packers will be decent to good, and there's every chance that could flip. And at the end of the year, it's the Packers win that division, and they are good. The thing that scares me a little bit is that Aaron Rodgers says his arm has not felt better. He says it's the first time in 16 years that his arm hasn't hurt going into a season. So is this going to be the year that Aaron Rodgers sort of reasserts himself as like a top quarterback and kind of people have almost forgotten about him in a way. Like when you do have people talk about like who are the best quarterbacks in the league, most people don't mention Rodgers anymore. So this might be the year where we keep seeing the discount double check and like he is just all over the place. But for the first game of the season, at least, I'm going to trust that the Vikings are the best team in the division. And if they're going to be the best team in the division, then they got to win this game.
So are they covering the spread as well?
Yeah, I mean, because it's only a 2.5 point spread, I'm going to assume they win and cover. But I mean, obviously, there's a possibility they don't. If that spread had been over 3 points, I think I would have taken the Vikings to win and the Packers with the points. But because it's 2.5, I'm going to take the points and the Vikings.
Got you. On the NFL preview, I actually tipped the Vikings to go pretty far this season. So I think what Frank said, the Packers overachieved last season. They didn't look like a team that went 13-3, but also they beat the Vikings twice last year. But I think from what I've seen, the Vikings have shored up quite a few areas that the Packers beat them last year. So mainly defensively. So I'm going to go with the Vikings, and as Eddie says, I think the spread is small enough for it to just kind of go within that kind of one field goal score. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings and -2.5 as well.
Least confident of probably want to agree with Eddie. One of the more least confident of the picks, but probably one of the better games of the week.
Yeah, very watchable. I mean, we haven't done that right yet, but so far the games, I actually think it's a really good first week of football. There are some weeks when the season kicks off and there's a lot of games where you're like, this is not a very good game. Here, I think at every time slot, you have a very watchable game, and you have a couple time slots, even the late games, which is unusual. Usually that like the afternoon games, there's maybe only one good one, but I would say even which I guess we're right about, we're now flipping to the afternoon games, but there's two decent games in there. I guess, Sam, I'll tee you up and just say I think we're about to pick the spread for the worst game of the weekend.
Yeah. Chargers are the Bengals, and the Chargers are 3-point favorites.
And I'll say this. If you're not related to Joe Burrow, there is no reason for you to watch this game.
I have absolutely no opinion or care on this game. And for that reason, I'm picking the Bengals, because when I looked at all my picks, it was just one of those situations where, honestly, I needed to go against the grain at some point. And I have such little knowledge and opinion on this game. I've just picked this one on that simple logic.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Bengals were the worst team in football last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Joe Burrow is probably going to make them a bit better. I don't know if he'll have an instant impact. The Chargers aren't great, but to me, there's no way you can pick the Bengals. Until the Bengals show me that they can win games, I'm not picking the Bengals any week. And I would need probably at least a touchdown in points before I pick them either. It's an anti-Bengals pick. Whoops. Painting just fell off the wall.
Is it a Matisse?
Yeah, sadly the Picasso's gone, guys. So I better nail my picks because it's just taking up.
Because I gotta go 16 for 16 this week.
Yeah, it looks like it. But no, So it's an anti-Bengals pick, and I am taking the Chargers because of it.
So this is, like Eddie said, one of the least enjoyable games you're going to want to watch. The Chargers QB is Tyrod Taylor, right? So you have Tyrod Taylor versus Joe Burrow. Not very exciting. I kind of see where Sam's going with this, where it's so unexciting that you're just basically saying, screw it, you're going to pick the Bengals. But I can't pick the Bengals. I can't pick the week one starting quarterback coming on to the worst team in the NFL, no matter how good he was in college and whether you think he's going to be good in the pros or not. I'll go Chargers, and -3 is not that much, so I think they can cover that. The other interesting thing I think about that game is, if I remember correctly, the over-under is really, really low too, right? So they're predicting them to not even score that much. I think it might be like 42 or 43 is the over-under, which is pretty low for an over-under.
42
this early in the season. Yeah. And I could almost even say that could go under. You could have a 14-10 game here with no one being able to score.
Frank, just to give you some knowledge there, that is not the lowest over-under. There's actually quite a few others with the 42 mark, but there's 2 games that are lower than 42.
Really? Are they good defensive teams?
It's the Broncos-Titans.
Yeah.
And the lowest, and I rarely see anything below 40, and you've got the over-under is 39.5, is the Bills-Jets.
Yeah, the two top defenses in the league against 2 pretty disappointing offenses. I could see it. Yeah, so Chargers, money line, Chargers against the spread.
Okay. Eddie, let's kick off. Niners. Cardinals at the Niners, and the Niners have got 7.
You only get one sentence.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Niners are going to be really good, and so I'm taking them to win and to cover the spread. That's my one sentence.
Okay.
Couldn't think you could do it.
I'm going to go 49ers, but I'm actually going to go Cardinals to cover the +7. The only reason being, all I am hearing is the word injuries when it comes to the 49ers at the moment.
With the wide receivers. Their wide receiver, they're getting really badly hit in the wide receiver. Their receiving core is like really struggling. Elsewhere, they're pretty healthy. But yeah, their receivers are struggles.
Yeah, they're really taking a dump on their chest of their receivers.
But Kittle's healthy. Shanahan, honestly, I think Shanahan could get you wide open, so I'm not worried about who they have as a receiver.
Spaghetti Arms is as healthy as you could be.
Frank, what are you taking?
I am going to take Niners to win, Cards to cover the spread.
Okay. All righty. This is an interesting game. The Bucks at the Saints, and the Saints are 3.5-point favorites.
I'll do it quickly. I think the Bucks are going to be good, not quite as good as people think, and I think they definitely need some early season games just to work out the kinks, even if they've been having some probably illegal practices with Tom Brady leading them in public parks in Tampa Bay or whatever they've been doing. But I still think that I'll trust the Saints early in the season, and I'll take the Saints for both to cover the spread and to win the game.
Yeah, exactly the same for me. I think the Bucks is one of those new units that will get progressively better, but I think the Saints are there right now. So actually, I think that the 3.5 that they're giving the Saints is actually pretty good. So yeah, I'm going Saints and to cover the 3.5.
Well, I was gonna go with you guys, but I think eventually I have to make some picks against you guys. So my thing here is this is the Saints home game, right? Technically.
Yeah.
In that instance, I would never pick against the Saints in the Superdome, but you have the Bucks being lucky to go to the Superdome, not have to worry about the crowd noise, which I've been there when the Giants played them and got absolutely demolished by the Saints. I think it was 41-0 or 44. It was a massacre. The Giants got killed probably about 10 years ago, and it was the loudest stadium I've ever been in. It was deafening. But you don't have that right now. I'll take the 3.5 and take the Bucks, figuring it's a close game. And since I'm doing that, I might as well just take the Bucks to win outright as well.
The Cowboys are 2.5-point favorites.
I think this is a really tough one. I'm not as high on the Cowboys as some people are, but they're obviously going to be pretty decent. The Rams were not great. Well, that's an overstatement, but we're not great last year. But I think the Rams will be better. They're opening their new stadium this weekend, so I, as illogical as that is, I'm going to pick them because I think they open their new stadium with a bang. So I'm taking the Rams to win, and obviously I'm taking them then with the 2.5 points.
Same. I did actually think that new stadium thing as well. And I just saw, again, the Cowboys are one of those teams I just don't like betting with. So honestly, I'd rather go against them. And I think this is one of those games where it's a toss-up. And I'd rather go against the grain on it. I actually don't mind the Rams either.
Yeah, this one, I'll have to stick with you guys. I'll go Rams with the points and Rams money line. Eddie, my question for you is, who's the better QB, Goff or Prescott?
That's tough. I'd put them basically at the same level as each other. And I'd give Goff the edge because he's at least taken a team to a Super Bowl. So you'd have to say that Goff at his best has shown himself to be better than Prescott at his best so far. Now, maybe that was a little bit the system and the weapons that he has around him. But until Prescott shows me that he can get to the playoffs and win playoff games, which, I mean, I think he has one playoff appearance maybe. But until he really, until then, I'm going to give Goff the edge. That might age really badly, but for now, I'd put them on the same level, but with a slight edge to Goff.
All right.
Well, I think that's a very great time to quickly pull in the Madden 21 QB ratings, with the big news of the week being that Colin Kaepernick was added to the ratings. And the great way to intro this is Eddie thinks they're about the same level. Madden rates Jared Goff as a 76 overall rating and rates Dak Prescott as an 84 rating. So 8 points higher Dak Prescott is, whereas Eddie considers it basically a toss-up. And I don't play Madden anymore, but Eddie has assured me that 3 points in a difference is a lot. So 8 is a very drastic difference.
84. Have you got like a ranking of QBs there? Like, where does that put Dak Prescott in the...
Dak Prescott's going to be top 10.
Yeah.
He is number 10.
Yeah.
And the big issue is, obviously, for those who haven't seen it, was Colin Kaepernick was added to the game as a free agent this year, and his rating is an 81, which puts him in the top 15 of starting quarterbacks, having not played for, what is it now, 4 years?
Yeah, maybe even 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Madden rating for Kaepernick is ridiculous, and I think it's just
it's a publicity stunt.
Yeah,
and that's what bothers. And that's what bothers me, is that they purposely did that so that we would have this debate. And that's why I almost didn't even want to bring it up, because it's such a stupid debate to even have, because they did it solely for this reason.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I think, yeah. And I'm sure, I mean, that's the thing, right, about Madden ratings too, is they're updated weekly. So probably within a couple of weeks, Kaepernick's going to drop down because he won't be on a team. I'm fine with Kaepernick being in the game. He's actively trying to make it back into the NFL, so that's okay. That being said, there's some other players who are actively trying to make it back into the NFL who aren't there. So like if Tim Tebow, for example, says he's still trying to make it to an NFL team, is Tim Tebow in Madden? There's no way. So that's my only slight issue, is it just has to be consistent, just because Kaepernick is more, and I'm totally on board with Kaepernick's activism and his political stance. It's not that. It's just Madden can't put him in just because he's more like a high profile non-player. If you're going to, I'm a Madden player. I'm all for them expanding the player pool so you do have more free agents when you start the game. I think that would be cool, just to have more options. But then Kaepernick can't be the only player who wasn't on a team last year who's suddenly in the choices.
I mean, but the rating is just, it's absurd. It's like, just now I have the Madden ratings pulled up and looking at them and seeing where he slots in, being a quarterback who hasn't even been in any type of football, let alone the NFL. No competitive football for 4 years is slotted right underneath Garoppolo, Stafford, and Cousins, and is the same as Roethlisberger, is ludicrous.
The thing I'd be interested to know too is what was Kaepernick's rating on Madden in his like peak Kaepernick
89.
year? 89. So he's only lost 8 points.
He was 80. I'm almost positive because I thought I looked this up. He was 81, 89, 80.
Yeah, I mean that to me is even the bigger issue is you're not taking a player who was a 99 and you can like Madden could have made that argument of like, look, he was a 99 and he's lost 18 points. It's like, no, he was an 89 at his best and he's lost 8 points even though he's several years older, hasn't played at all. And also in the final 12 to 18 months of his career with the Niners, he was terrible. He didn't.
And not only was, I mean, terrible, maybe I'll even give you as an overstatement, but he was also really hurt too. Like that last season he came back when he lost all that weight, he was out for a really long time, had like 3 knee surgeries, a shoulder surgery. I mean, he's had 4 or 5 surgeries in those 3 or 4 years he was with the Niners. And now you're taking that injury-prone person who has previous issues, taking him out of a competitive sport for 4 years and then throwing him back in. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's a good PR stunt. It got everyone to talk about Madden.
Exactly.
In a year where people probably wouldn't have spoken about it that much because there wasn't the build up to the NFL season the same way. So it was a smart move by them. Everyone, like literally every single news outlet talked about Madden, even, like the BBC and CNN, like news outlets that would have never, ever done a review of the new Madden are suddenly talking about it.
2 games left, so let's just bundle them. Steelers at the Giants. Steelers are 6-point favorites, and Titans at the Broncos, and Titans are 2.5-point favorites. So, Frankie boy.
Well, I've got a question for Frank. Are the Giants going to be allowed to play with tennis balls taped to their hands, or do they have to take that off before the game starts?
So word on the street is right now they're not allowed to play, but once they go 13-0, teams are allowed to request that they put the tennis balls back on to make it more of a game to have other teams a chance to actually win and not to have the Giants go undefeated.
Oh, that's fair then. I'll keep that in mind for week 14. It doesn't change my mind.
Yeah.
And also, I know Frank and I are going to disagree with this one, right? Because he thinks the Steelers are done. So there's no way he can take the Steelers. Like, even if he thinks the Steelers will win this, he's going to take the points for the Giants for sure. Yep. And I am going to take the Steelers to win and cover the spread.
Yep, I'm already putting it in for Frank now. Giants +6, right? Or do you want to do alternate handicap on this one? Because the Steelers are that done. That's
+6.
Yeah,
Skinny Ben is getting 6 points. Is taking.
Doesn't matter.
He's giving 6 points. Sorry.
Give me the Giants with the points.
Okay.
And straight up, who are you taking?
I was going to say Steelers. Give me the Giants.
See, this is what I don't like. Is he's not even. It's not a genuine.
He's not even following through with his preview.
It's not a genuine. It's not a genuine pick. It's just so he can do an "I told you so" on this one. He is just doing that, and that bothers me slightly.
It's going to be the worst 15 weeks, isn't it? Right?
No, I mean
for the Giants, yeah.
I will. I didn't actually have a pick in this I have a bunch of leagues I'm in where I take picks. This is the one I kept skipping over to the very end. I did pick the Steelers in my confidence pool, but I had them as a 1 or 2, so at the very lowest. So, I mean, I'll go Giants. I've said it before, I don't think the Steelers are that great anymore this year. And, maybe the Giants get lucky and beat them in a barn burner 14-13 or something like that. So,
if we're lucky.
Okay. And last,
not going to be a very enjoyable game, but I will have to watch it
because Freddie Kitchens is on the coaching staff for the Giants right now, right?
Tight end coach. Yep.
What's higher, Freddie Kitchens' IQ or Daniel Jones's QB rating at the end of the season?
Daniel Jones's QB rating.
Wow. Now now maybe, who knows, maybe either that's an insult to Freddie Kitchens or you really believe in Daniel Jones.
I think Daniel Jones can get a solid 55 QB rating this year. No, I think Jones, I said it in our preview, I think Jones will be much improved this year. He's got decent weapons. He's got another year under the belt. I think he's going to play a lot better than people expected. And he didn't play that bad in the second half of the year. I mean, he had 1 or 2 games where they were terrible, but overall he played decently the last 6 games.
Frank, he could play a lot better than I expect, and the Giants will still be terrible.
Well, we'll see after they're 1-0 week 1.
Titans, Broncos.
I think this is a little bit of a lack of respect for the Titans, I have to say. You know, I know the Broncos were decent at times last year. They've just got hit because Von Miller is out for the year, seemingly, with his injury. So that's a big blow to them, both defensively and just from a team leader standpoint. And I think this is just, I mean, everyone kind of disrespected the Titans throughout the season last year and into the playoffs. And I think this is just a continuation of that fact. I mean, yeah, I think quite confidently I'll take the Titans to cover the spread and to win that game.
I'll agree. Titans to cover and Titans to win. I think Drew Lock is going to be one of the worst QBs in the league this year. I don't see that offense putting up much points, especially against the Titans defense that's going to cover the shit out of them. I think the Titans win this easily.
I'm agreeing. The Von Miller thing was pretty damaging. So, yeah, I'm going with the Titans as well to cover. There we go. That was week 1.
So one of the other betting things right now that Eddie is kind of having a semi-backfire on is his U.S. Open who not to pick prediction. So I thought maybe Eddie could give us a little roundup of how the tennis is going right now.
Yeah, who's getting smacked in the throat this week, Eddie?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe me for me doubting Zverev. Zverev is ramming it down my throat right now. But
he's shitting on your chest.
Yeah,
he's back. He's OBJing you.
He's OBJing him.
I mean, I'll say this. Zverev's quarterfinal performance was one of the worst tennis matches I have ever watched at a Grand Slam. So if he is going to continue that form going forward, I give him a 0% chance of actually winning this. But
the funny thing is he kind of gets away with it again in his semifinal match where he has the lowest he has the best opponent he could have gotten to play.
Oh, I mean, if you had told him that Carreño Busta was going to be his opponent in a U.S. Open semifinal, I mean, you would have taken that every day of the week. So, yeah, he's
But I mean, with who else is left, too. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, even out of who else is left, he has the easiest opponent. But just on anyway, if you would just going into his career, and that is with all due respect to Carreño Busta, who I also owe an apology to. When we were last discussing the U.S. Open, I said that he might be over 30. He's 29. So he is. So no matter who wins, right, this U.S. Open, they will be the only player under 30 to be a Grand Slam winner at the moment. If it's Carreño Busta, that won't stay true for very long. But no matter what, there's going to be that. It's hard to see either one.
Give us your pick then.
So Medvedev hasn't lost a set yet.
Wow.
And he looked incredibly impressive. I mean, in his quarterfinal, but also just throughout it. He's serving well. His forehand, the accuracy on his forehand, he hits angles that kind of like almost unbelievable at times. Whoever wins that semifinal, the team Medvedev semifinal, is clearly going to win. I'm going to say that Medvedev wins, though. He is the favorite. Because obviously he's a very slight favorite against team, and whoever wins that will be the favorite in the final. But I think Medvedev. The women's one is actually, in a way, the more complicated one. So the interesting fact, when from Williams' quarterfinal, that was the first time in history, in open era history, that two women playing against each other in Grand Slam were mothers, and in a quarterfinal, I should say. And this semifinal, because both Williams and Azarenka are mothers, this will be the first semifinal ever where two of the women competing against each other are both mothers. So
that's
they're
pretty neat fact.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right?
Yeah.
I think Williams is getting a little bit too much respect. It's just one of those things where it's Serena Williams. So I think Azarenka looks way better than her. Serena Williams is so immobile at times. It's remarkable. Like she gets into rallies sometimes where if you just hit the ball 2 or 3 yards away, like either side of her, you hit a winner. It's quite stunning. She just relies on the fact that she can overpower people, and also psychologically too. I think she just has such a huge advantage. Like when she does, she's lost the first set a few times, but I think twice now this tournament. She lost the first set in the quarterfinal, and she was a breakdown early in the second set. But once she broke back, I think for a lot of those opponents, they just kind of fear, like, here it comes, Serena Williams kicking into gear. You can kind of see on their face that they're almost seeing their own defeat coming towards them well before it happens. I just think Azarenka the moment won't be too big for her. And also the lack of movement from Williams is going to be her undoing. So I think Azarenka will win that. Osaka, I think, will win the other semifinal. And I think Azarenka will beat Osaka in the final, would be my prediction.
Yeah, for the women, I completely agree with you. I think it'll be Azarenka, Osaka, which will be a good final. And I would rather watch that than watch Serena Williams. We've talked about this.
She's so moody too. In the quarterfinal, Williams. In the quarterfinal, I mean, the commentator at one moment, for example, in the where I was actually watching Canadian coverage of it, but the commentator they openly said it does not look like she wants to be out there.
Even the Canadian said that?
Even the Canadian, the nicest people in the world. And that was as harsh as they got. But they did say, and it's 100% true. She was just a little child throwing kind of like hissy fits on the court because she mishit a forehand and then she has to sulk for 4 points. It's unbelievable. And the fact that, in some ways, right, you have to give her almost even more respect because she can do that and then still win the match.
Yeah, we've talked about this for years and years and years now. Basically, anytime one of us has money on Williams in a critical game or tournament, it always comes down to us saying, she's going to lose this match because she can't keep her cool. She's acting like a child. It's annoying to watch, and I get it. It's a shame because if she wasn't so vocal and annoying with her antics, she would be good to watch because it's fun to watch that person who's trying to overpower versus a person who's trying to, play with like placements and stuff like that, especially in a women's game where you can do that, where you can get someone who is doing power versus someone who's doing finesse. It would be great to watch her, but I can't stand watching her play. I can't stand it.
See, I actually disagree because even within the men's game, I think it's less interesting when you watch like Isner play, Kevin Anderson, just the idea that it's just kind of maximum rally 6 shots and they're just trying to overpower each other with their serve and with their forehands or whatever. I find that overall less interesting to watch because there's just no tactics almost to a lot of it. And with me, I still prefer watching men's tennis to women's tennis. That being said, the big selling point on women's tennis to me is because there is a little bit less power in the game. It is a little bit more technical and tactical at times. And Williams, in a way, is kind of like the worst of both worlds, where she doesn't enter the power level of the men, but she loses the finesse of a lot of the other female players. And she's not alone in that respect, I got to say. But I would much rather watch Osaka play or Azarenka play. I mean, there's a host of the female players who I really enjoy watching. And Williams, to me, it's just an unpleasant experience start to finish. Whether or not I want her to win or want her to lose, I don't enjoy watching her.
I really want to go with your adopted son. Like, I was almost tempted this morning to put some money on it just so if he did win, it would be worth losing the money to be able to show you that I picked your adopted son when you told us not to and I won something. But I kind of agree. He hasn't looked good. I've watched him a little bit the past few days or the past week in his earlier matches. I watched a few and he didn't look spectacular. So I'm kind of probably not going to make a pick. But I did want to bring the men back up because you had promised us that you would get a miles per hour on how hard Djokovic hit that woman, but I know you did not do it. So Frank took an hour out of his day yesterday to draw up some
way.
mathematical models to determine at what speed Djokovic hit that woman in the throat.
All right, you're going to have to show some workings with this one then.
I have a 6-point PowerPoint I'm going to share with you guys, and I'll talk through it because you don't really need to see it. But I'll show you what I did as I talk through it. So here's the picture of Djokovic.
Holy shit, he's actually
striking the ball, and the woman who the ball is about 3 feet from the woman, and I don't think she's even seen it at this point still. I did this to show where on the court he hits the ball. And I'll also post this all up on Instagram so you guys can see it. So it looks like he's about a foot over and a foot back of that center mark. Here's then the court. This is the U.S. Open court that he played on. I then have all the distances, and the only distance that we don't know is how far that line judge is from the actual end of the tennis court. So using what we know of how the distances of the other lines on the court, I can get the estimate of how far it was. So she's about 25.3 feet from the end of the court. Okay. So now we can do just a simple Pythagorean theorem to figure out where he hits her. So it's the 25.3 feet plus the about 17 feet that Djokovic is on the court. And she's the side judge. So she's on that sideline. So we know the exact distance of that sideline. And we can calculate how far the ball travels. The ball travels 44.7 feet. We then go to the videotape. There is one video that clearly shows Djokovic striking the ball in real time and it hitting her throat. I'll play it. You're not going to be able to really see much. We can full screen it or whatever. But basically, it's him striking and him hitting it. It is 0.6 seconds it takes for the ball to leave his racket and hit her throat. So 0.6 seconds at 44 feet gives it a 50 miles per hour is the speed at which that ball struck her throat, took her down, and made her scream in agony for a good 2 minutes.
Thoughts? I mean,
it's super impressive. It's
really
like watching,
impressive.
It's like watching someone break down the JFK assassination. So I'll give you credit on that. And the University of Arizona probably needs to find some more things for you to do. But aside from that, I might dispute some of the distances there marginally, but I am happy to accept that even if there is a slight variation there, that it's not going to be above 80 miles an hour.
I was just imagining that happening with like kind of Madden style commentary, and it's like, bam, this is when it hits her. Bam, this is the distance. And boom.
Yeah. While I was doing it, it reminded me of Parks and Rec when Leslie Knope puts up this crazy thing, and what's her face comes in and is like, "This is something a serial killer would do." And she's like, "Thank you. That shows commitment."
Well, I'll offer the same compliment to you.
So that brings us to the question, a 50 mile per hour ball striking your throat, are you going down?
An 80 mile an hour ball to my throat, I'm not going down. I'm not enjoying the experience, but I'm not going down.
And now here comes the other question.
And what's the fastest?
44 feet away, are you able to move out of a 50 mile per hour tennis ball? So 44 feet would be about 11 yards.
She's not looking at him.
She's not looking, right?
That's
the issue. That's the issue. So probably assuming you're not looking, no, because even if you pick it up as it's coming towards you very last second, maybe you swat it. Maybe you can do that. But you're definitely not moving out of the way.
It would have been great if she did some sort of like Neo-style Matrix, like kind of move out the way on it. That would have been incredible to watch.
In fairness, Sam, what's the fastest ball you've taken to your face?
I'm speechless. I don't even know. It's not
that
quick.
There's just so many memories going through his head that he can't pick one out in particular.
That's going to be damaging. 50 mile an hour. That would be damaging. Like people die at those kind of speeds if someone was just running at you.
Speed queen.
God, it's like I've taught you something new when you're just kind of running away with it now.
Yeah, 100%. That's how my mind works.
Yeah, it's like a toddler getting taught a new word.
So let's keep with our predictions then. Should we jump into the Premier League, which is also starting this week?
Yeah, I mean, I guess before we do that, in a way, we spoke about Odell Beckham Jr. getting himself into trouble. We can talk about two England players, Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden, who got themselves into trouble during England's trip to Iceland during the UEFA Nations League. They snuck two Icelandic women, cousins, obviously cousins of each other, not cousins of either Mason Greenwood or Phil Foden. They snuck them into the hotel, which was quarantined, like a mini lockdown bubble. They snuck them in.
So that's where the first controversy starts.
Apparently they didn't. They're saying they didn't. They're saying that they had paid rooms that night. And I guess that must be quite easy to show, like the ledger of bookings. But they're saying that they had a paid room and they had every right to be in there because obviously it's their room.
But
they didn't have the right to interact with the players, right?
No,
exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
That's the second controversy, yeah. What is it with
wait, real quick though, at least I think you need to throw out one of the main facts of this story is that Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden are 19 and 20. So they're very young England stars, I guess you could say, future stars in a foreign country where if it weren't for this COVID lockdown, any of the players that are now older that are on that team, if they were in that same situation, inviting girls over from Instagram and having them hang out in the hotel room is probably the most sane thing that any of those people would have done, knowing the previous encounters some professional footballers have had with videos and things.
Sure. No, you're right. And look, there's a lot of ex-professionals who've come to their defense and basically said they're young, people make mistakes. All I'll say is that like a lot of sacrifices are being made by a lot of people to get sporting events back up and running. And I think the players need to appreciate that. And so even when they're making mistakes that on the face of it are not that significant, they have to put them in the context in which they're doing it. And so with all the effort and all the money and all the time that's being put on so that England can travel to Iceland and play a football match there, a fundamentally meaningless football match there, those players should have had better sense than to invite people over. I'll also say this. The one girl who was the one who was speaking to Mason Greenwood, who like it was them interacting that led to this happening. So she said, she didn't leak it, that someone else leaked it, that she wasn't responsible for the leak. She would have never leaked the fact that she went over. Maybe that's believable. Who knows? The only other thing is she said, she was like, I didn't even realize Mason Greenwood played for Manchester United. I didn't know Phil Foden was a footballer. I have subsequently, I did not follow Mason Greenwood on Instagram, still don't, but I looked at his Instagram just to see like every single photo of him is in a Manchester United like training kit, or like seriously everyone. So if you're interacting with him on Instagram, you'd either have to be like, this guy is the biggest Manchester United fan in the world, or you'd figure out he played for Manchester United.
Yeah.
And the other thing, why else would a 20-year-old Icelandic model be interacting with someone on Instagram if he weren't famous or a celebrity? I have to imagine she gets a lot of people sliding into her DMs. Does she just answer everyone? It's like, oh, this seems like a nice random guy. Oh, he's coming for the weekend. That's cool. Maybe we'll hang out.
Well, Frank,
and not look into who he is? No.
Well, Frank, maybe next episode, instead of the breakdown of how far away Djokovic was and the speed, you'll show us a series of Instagram exchanges with her, and you'll be like, look, she does respond to everyone.
This is a flirt. No, for me, the whole thing is it just screams immaturity. Like, even when you look at like the interactions between Greenwood and Foden, like they're saying, oh, what do you think she wants? And then Greenwood would be like, I think we know what she wants, kind of thing. And it's almost like they're alluding to the fact that sex is somehow like taboo with 19-year-old like Premier League stars.
Yeah, they come across as real dorks.
They come across as like really, Frank, have you ever seen the show The In-Betweeners?
Love it.
It's basically, they come across as like that group of people interacting about sex like they're having it for the first time. But I think the point for me is what Eddie said, is that it's all immature, it's all fun and games kind of thing. Would have happened a year ago, For sure, 100%. No one would have cared. No one would have batted an eyelid. So when people like Gary Neville and that come out and they're like, oh, well, boys will be boys, it happens. No, you're neglecting the global situation that means people are pissed off. And truth be told, when Eddie said that game was meaningless, I lost like an hour and a half of my life that night. That was,
it was also an awful match.
It was one of the worst things I've ever watched. And then
the only thing that made it look better was then the England-Denmark
game
a couple days later.
That's the depressing thing. I was like, great, this was fantastic to be in a pub with. What could possibly top my time? And it was like, oh, so everything leaks about Greenwood, etc. They then get dropped from the team, which potentially messes up maybe their next kind of few games chances. And then England play worse against, okay, granted a better team, but they play worse. It was such a painful time for English international football off the back of some, pretty good optimism around now.
I'll also say that Mason Greenwood looks even worse in contrast with one of his England and Manchester United teammates, which is Marcus Rashford, who over the past few months, Marcus Rashford has looked so good as a result of the efforts he's put in terms of providing school lunches. And he's not that much older. I mean, Rashford's 22, I think. How mature he looks in how he deals with himself publicly and how he's taken on really important issues and delivered more. I mean, Marcus Rashford fundamentally got school lunches back in schools. And, he's achieved more in a short time as a footballer for sort of, English people than a lot of politicians will over the course of their entire career. So when you're contrasting that immature, naive behavior with what one of his teammates is doing, it makes Greenwood look even worse. And look, it's not, some people are going overboard. You are hearing some people talk about like, should Greenwood and Foden ever play for England again? And I mean, that's ridiculous. They deserve to be publicly criticized for what they did. Probably leave them out of the next squad even, just to teach them a lesson. But obviously they're two tremendously talented players. And leaving them out would be even just sort of cutting off their nose to spite their face almost.
So, yeah. My thing with one, I didn't know Foden has a kid. So he obviously does know how to have sex, Sam.
That's news to me, I have to say. I didn't even know he had a kid either.
Yeah, he has I think a 1 or 2 year old kid with apparently longtime girlfriend, which adds another twist to the story of is this longtime girlfriend still a longtime girlfriend?
Oh, that's news to me.
That's all new.
So Frank did some investigative journalism of his own today and found out Phil Foden loves 2 things right now. This was an article that was published a few months ago. He loves to fish and he loves fatherhood.
I honestly was hearing that come as fist.
So that was the first part that I thought of this whole thing that was very interesting. And I agree. They are 19 and 20 that both look and sounded maturity-wise going on 15 and 16. I mean, they look young for even 19 and 20. And after watching those videos, they seem very immature people.
Although maybe there's a new twist there. You said Phil Foden loves to fish. There is excellent fishing in Iceland, and maybe they were just looking for some local, some really nice place to catch some fresh Icelandic salmon. That was all they were going for.
Is that what
or maybe Eddie, maybe he likes fishing and fatherhood, so he was hoping to get the fatherhood part out of the way that night and then go fishing with her in the morning.
Yeah, awesome.
That could be a
great date.
Yeah. Great date. Yeah,
wading into a cold Icelandic river together.
My only other issue I have is, they need to be held responsible. I think they should get some sort of repercussion, like you guys were saying. But as captains and more senior people on that team, how are you not doing something to kind of engage the team and have them kind of like some sort of team camaraderie, where instead you have 19 and 20-year-old kids just being like, just go to your hotel room and fend for yourselves for the night? Like, I don't get that. As like when I was younger and would travel with teams, there was never a time where like you were alone in your room during the night. Alone. I mean, it was just them two.
Yeah, but I mean, how?
But I mean, like, think about it. Like, usually teams are together. They're out doing something, sitting in the room, joking around, partying, and then it's like bedtime, like nighttime. But it seemed like it was just like dinner time, and they were just sitting in their hotel room by themselves. Like, as a team leaders and team captains, don't you kind of have to think, hey, you know, maybe we should get these young kids out of their rooms and kind of just interact with them and make sure they don't get into trouble?
I mean, I guess in your mind you would have thought, how could they get into trouble? They're in a lockdown hotel. This is the one situation in which we don't have to chaperone them, because they're just going to go to their rooms and probably play FIFA. You know, like, this is probably what in their mind they thought they were going to do. Also, I think the difference between, say, the experiences that like any of us will have had on teams, which, you know, would have been through high school and at university and stuff, you were always in kind of the same age range as all of your teammates. It would be really different to be like a 33-year-old and you're on a team with a 19-year-old. And you're like, do I want to spend my evening talking to this guy? Like, look at the chats that they had. You know, like the way they were speaking about it. Imagine being like a mature 32, 33-year-old who has a, you know, kind of not your first time playing for England. You've been there, done that. And now you're sitting down to try and have a conversation with Phil Foden. I mean, it might be a little bit tough. So you might have been like, Phil, maybe it's bedtime, all right? You head off, go play FIFA and do whatever you want to do. And I'm going to go read a book.
They can talk about fatherhood.
Foden
loves it. And fishing.
Yeah, but for me, though, the Premier League, like, this is covered in terms of like how to conduct yourself. Like, the clubs, agents, the league itself, they run these kind of like courses, these things on how to like deal with media, how to deal with yourself in front of the cameras, etc. And younger players are getting found younger and younger. People burst on the scenes now when they're 15, 16 years old in the Premier League. And it's tackled really early on what they need to do with themselves to conduct themselves. And simply put, they just didn't listen. So, I mean, that's how it differs as well.
Yeah, but you're still 15, 16, no matter how much someone tells you the right way to do things.
Wait, hold on. They're not 15, 16.
No. I know.
Mentally.
He's saying like younger. He's saying mentally, like people get younger and younger.
Sure. I mean, I do think you're talking about fully professionals at 15, 16, right? So it is a very different world. But you also have to imagine that going on these trips with England, they will have been briefed endlessly about like, these are the restrictions, these are what's in place, this is how you can behave, this is where you can go, this is what you can do. For sure they've had someone talk to them about that. So they've definitely had to ignore a lot of, you know, sort of systems that have been put in place to make them behave. And all they had to do, like, this is the thing too that I always get, that blows my mind. Not even footballers, for a lot of people, when people are talking about like, oh yeah, but I broke the rules, I broke the lockdown rules, I broke the quarantine rules, I did this, all you had to do was sit at home. Like, people are acting as if they like accidentally like are breaking these rules. It's like, all you had to do was sit in your hotel room and turn on the TV and you were good. You were fine. He could have messaged those girls. They've got tons of money. Message those Icelandic girls, fly them to Manchester. Do that. Could have done that. If you really want to meet up with them, fly them to Manchester, and done it on non-England duty, had them go stay in a hotel, quarantine if they have to. Could have paid for all of that to happen. You really want to meet them? Go for it. Knock yourselves out. I'm not going to stop you. Just have the sense of like when and how to do it.
Yeah. So Sam, shoot us some games, some matches.
All right. First one is Fulham v Arsenal.
Interesting one. Fulham, obviously a promoted side. Arsenal picked up towards the back end of last season. Started well in the Community Shield. I am going to assume that, I wasn't overly impressed as a Blackburn Rovers supporter last year with Fulham. I wasn't overly impressed with them for most of the season, and that was a division they should have won pretty easily with the team that they have on paper. So I'm going to assume that that Arsenal have too much firepower and beat them.
Yeah. I think Fulham are tipped by a lot of people to actually not only go down, but a couple of people like BBC pundits, Sky pundits have actually tipped Fulham to finish like lower than West Brom. And obviously, if you haven't heard our Premier League preview, take a look, because most of us tip West Brom as like a easy one to get relegated, but the fact that a lot of people are putting Fulham down as well. Also, they haven't really signed anyone. They've signed a few players, but fundamentally they're still relying on...
They signed Harrison Reed, who they had on loan.
They did, but they signed like Anthony Knockaert as well. They had like Knockaert as well. And it's like they're still relying on people like Mitrovic, who has not, I think, ever had firepower within the Premier League kind of thing. Even when he was at kind of... was it Wigan?
He did okay the year they went down, didn't he? Mitrovic, I think he did okay. And they were a bad team the year they went down, but he did all right.
But I think there's a real contrast here. I think Arsenal, for me, look good.
Fulham fall firmly in that category, which is always the warning sign to me of a promoted side who continue to sign championship players.
Yeah.
And it's almost one of those things where maybe in the back of their minds, maybe you're almost preparing yourself. Maybe Fulham have gone to that mode of, to cement our Premier League status, it's going to take us, we're going to have to yo-yo for maybe 3 or 4 seasons. And so maybe in the back of your minds, you're signing players of, if we go down, we can hold on to this player. He's suited to the championship, and we can bounce right back with the squad that we have. And maybe you're thinking about that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But to flip it on Arsenal as well, I'm really excited for this Arsenal team. There's a lot of positivity. I do believe that Arteta's gotten more drilled, more disciplined, but also they've added a lot of creative flair. There's a good positivity around Aubameyang, so he's basically just confirmed that it'll be Arsenal's highest paid player with a 3-year contract. I think adding Ozil aside, adding to people like Saka with Will.i.am, I think they've got such good players, but also their big issue is central defence. And now they've just signed Magalhaes, and they've got Williams Saliba from Saint-Étienne. So I think Arsenal look really good this year, and I can see nothing else here except an Arsenal win.
Who thought we would have 2 Will.i.am references in the same podcast?
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's actually the same player. Will.i.am is the Will.i.am for Arsenal. Frank, you got any observations?
Nah, I mean, you guys said it all. Sam, I'm gonna go with you. You've swayed me on Arsenal this year, so until they prove you completely wrong, I will go at least Arsenal to win this.
All right. Next one's Palace Southampton. We didn't actually cover Palace that much, but I think I looked at their signings, and they've signed I can never remember his name, but was it like Izeri from QPR?
Yeah, I mentioned him. Yeah, he's people thinking he's going to be a future England star. So he might be a good signing, but I don't think he's going to change the outlook of this season because he's still very young.
Yeah, and for me, I think Southampton could be... I know we've had this kind of top half argument, and to be fair, since that Premier League preview, a lot's changed transfer-wise, but I think Southampton are a candidate for top 10. I think that maybe a couple of teams transfer-wise may have gone above them now, but I think Southampton could be a surprise package this year. I think Danny Ings will have another standout year. I think he'll score a lot of goals. And I rate Southampton. They look really good at the end of last season as well. They were definitely one of the form teams from the post-COVID situation. So yeah, I can see a Southampton win.
I would love to pull the annoying fantasy player thing, because I know it would piss Eddie off, and just say, like, I hope Crystal Palace score a ton because I've got Zaha, but I will never do that on this podcast. So I don't have much of an opinion here. If I had to pick one, I would probably pick Southampton. I think Crystal Palace are not going to be very good this year, and I could possibly see them getting relegated. So
I am going to pick a score draw. I think Crystal Palace are bad and could well go down. And I think Southampton are a bottom half team, probably going to finish sort of 12th to 14th in that range. And I think that this will be, I very rarely pick draws, so I'm trying to mentally change that. And I'm going to put this one in the score draw category.
Liverpool Leeds is probably there's not really a standout opening game for Saturday, unlike the NFL where there's some good ones, but I'd probably say Liverpool Leeds is the standout game of the day on Saturday, but not for the reasons that it could be a really good game, but just for the fact that Leeds are kind of a long-awaited a return. Most people pretty much hate them if you're not a Leeds fan within the Premier League. They've got a lot of rivalries with a lot of people. But also it'll be interesting to see what Liverpool look like this year because they haven't really strengthened. They had a really good squad last year, but has that lack of strengthening meant a problem? By the way, did you guys hear Jurgen Klopp's point about why they haven't spent money?
No.
He basically came out and said, it's a big dig at Chelsea. He basically said, people need to look at the world and understand like the situation at the moment. And you'll suddenly start to realize that the oligarchs that own clubs in the Premier Leagues are the ones that don't care. And that's why they're spending, which is obviously a complete dig at Chelsea's kind of like 200 million bloated spend. But
it's so rich, right? Because Liverpool happen to be in a situation where they can not spend and they will still be title challengers.
Yeah.
If this had happened 3-4 years ago and they'd been needing to sign Allison and needing to sign Van Dijk, they wouldn't have done that. And Klopp would have been insulted if someone had said to him, don't you think it's wrong to spend money in the current economic climate? So, I mean, I like Klopp in the sense that he does often speak about football not being as sort of serious and high pressure as people make it out to be, and that everyone's really fortunate to be involved in professional football. At the same time, he's like a friendly prick. Yeah. So, he's one of those
everybody's friendly prick.
Yeah, no, but he's just one of those guys who's like, at times he just comes across as really down to earth and really nice, but the moments when he wants to make a point, you can tell he's a bit of an asshole, and that would be definitely in that category.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, for this one, this will come back and bite me. I know 100%, but I think Leeds have signed smartly. I think they already had a good team. I think Helder Koska's a really good signing. Rodrigo is a fantastic signing up front. I always think Premier League clubs, when they come up, have a slight boon at the start. You get these weird results where certain clubs do well. Liverpool, post-COVID, post the restart, I don't think have looked good. I just don't think they have looked at the levels they were. And I just feel like with this kind of condensed lack of preseason, that I can actually see this being like a weird score draw. I really can.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't disagree with you more, sorry.
Oh, okay.
What are the other
shit? I was like, holy shit! I can't believe he's saying that.
No, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It could be a rout.
I'm not the biggest Liverpool.
I just have a feeling.
As everyone knows, I've not picked Liverpool to win the league, and I've even said that they might finish third. But their home record in the Klopp era is second to none. So already picking them to not win a home game is going out on a limb. Okay, Leeds have done all right with their signings, and they looked pretty good last year, but it's still a massive leap in quality. And then in addition to that, I actually think Leeds are hurt by the fact that Liverpool have been so shaky at the back end of last season and then in the Community Shield, the Charity Shield, Community Shield, whatever it's called now. Because I think if you're Klopp and if you're the Liverpool players, you're saying we're not getting off to a bad start. We are not going to play a promoted side at home and not win. Don't take this game lightly. Don't look past it. Don't look to sort of bigger matches that might come in the future. We have to start the way we've played every match last season. So I think it hurts Leeds that Liverpool have not looked great over the past sort of 4 or 5 months. If
I gave you -1, would you take it?
I don't like bets like that, as Frank knows. I never like the bet where it's something the teams involved don't care about. Like that fundamentally is one of my big rules of gambling. Is like, it's why I don't like spreads, for example, a lot in any sport. Is I never like having the feeling that the team involved doesn't give a shit about the fact that whether they win by 1 goal or 2.
Okay.
That being said, if you put I'm just saying that's just my general rule. But that being said, if you put a gun to my head and am I taking Liverpool -1.5 or Leeds +1.5, I'm taking Liverpool -1.5.
You keep teasing us.
Eddie, are you sure subconsciously?
Yeah. Are you sure
subconsciously?
About this,
do you want Leeds?
Are you just disagreeing with me because it's what I've said? Anyway, next one.
We don't want mine.
Oh, sorry, Frank. Yeah. Sure.
No. Whatever. I mean, to be honest, I can't believe we just spent that much time talking about a Liverpool Leeds match when I was going to ask, is 1-4 an even fair odds for Liverpool? I would have put them further down. I'll take -1.5. I mean, the defending champ versus a newly promoted team. I understand they haven't been playing great lately, but the talent level on Liverpool is still astonishingly higher than what Leeds have right now. I'll take Liverpool -1.5.
All right. Okay. West Ham Newcastle is the late kickoff.
What a Saturday evening treat this is.
It's a good thing I'll be hammered for this because it's the only way I'd watch it.
I mean, the players might be drunk by the time this kicks off.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, Eddie, you said you liked to have teams have something to play for. Well, I've got a good stat for you. West Ham have lost their last 4 home opener, let me start this completely over again.
Oh, it's the second stroke of the day.
Yeah. West Ham have lost their last 4 openers, and Newcastle have lost 7 out of their last 8 openers. So I really think one of them wants to play for a win in an opener here.
I mean, my pick is just going to be a draw.
So no one's gonna win.
Yeah,
still,
and that was going to be my pick even before that statistic came out. But yeah, it's a draw. Both of these teams are bad, so they're both going to be involved in and around the drop zone, regardless of this result. But they're both bad.
I think if I'm going to lean any direction on this, West Ham have one of those terribly annoying records at home where they usually do all right, Man City aside, they usually do all right against the bigger teams, but they fail miserably against lower teams. But also the problem is Newcastle have a terrible ability to beat teams around them as well. And that's usually why they're in the position they are. And I consider West Ham one of those teams. But the Fraser Wilson signings, if they go straight in and play, and they play to the levels they did 2 years ago, I think that could probably tip a slight favour to Newcastle. I mean, I'd probably go Newcastle it's going to be boring. It's going to be horrible. It may be 1-0, but I think Newcastle if Callum Wilson kicks on to, not last year, because it wasn't exactly fantastic last year, but the season before he can get to that level quite quickly. I think Newcastle have got themselves like a 15-plus goal scorer, which is something they badly need. So, I'm going to edge Newcastle, but terrible, terrible game.
Guess we can save probably some time. Well, Frank, I guess you didn't make your pick, though.
Yeah. If I had to pick the winner, I think I'd go with Eddie with the draw. I think the better bet might be the over. I know Sam could said it could be 1-0, but I could also see it being 2-2 very easily with them just letting up shit goals.
Yeah. And I guess we can move on then, talking about 2 of the worst teams in the league. And then we can speak about arguably who most are predicting to be the worst team in the league. So West Brom Leicester. I am just going to base the fact that I think West Brom are going to be really bad and that Leicester are going to be a top 8 team, and I'm going to back Leicester to win.
I'll make it easy. I agree. Same reasoning too.
Yeah, I think Leicester are a better team. I really like, by the way, Leicester's, they signed Castagna from Atalanta. I think that's a really good buy. And I just think as long as Leicester they were terrible in the second half of last season, but if the players fire, I think they'll be top 10 again. So yeah, I think West Brom are getting relegated, so I can see that being a Leicester win.
I'll throw one out for Eddie just to piss him off. I'll say Vardy gets a brace.
Yeah, it's exactly the type of match. He's a flat track bully, right? So he'll probably score a hat trick, and everyone will be raving against him because he scored a hat trick against West Brom. Good for him. Then maybe we can move on to, what's arguably the best match of the weekend, which is Spurs-Everton. Tough one to pick.
Everton looked different, right, compared to our Premier League preview a couple of weeks ago. They've signed James Rodriguez, which is, that's Ancelotti, right? That's the only reason he's gone there. It's Ancelotti, but they've also signed Allen. They actually look a pretty good team now.
I will say this. I did read an article which was, if your career ever involves you going from Real Madrid to Everton, then your career has not gone well.
Something's happened, right? Yeah. I don't like Spurs. I can see this being a score draw. I don't really rate Spurs, if I'm honest. I still think they'll finish 6th, but I just don't rate them. So I'm gonna go with a draw on this one. I think Everton's signings will make them better than what I said in a preview.
I mean, I thought Everton were going to be one of the teams that improved the most. I still stand by that. The signings have only reinforced that. That being said, I think this will be a Mourinho special, and I think Spurs will grind out a win.
Sheffield United, Wolves, and Brighton, Chelsea.
Yeah, I could do those ones quickly. I obviously think that Sheffield United are going to be significantly worse this year, so I'll take Wolves. And Chelsea, I just think I always have these doubts about Chelsea because they do have weird results. But given their signings and how good they look like they could be, you got to assume they're going to be able to beat Brighton.
Yeah, I think the same. I think Wolves have improved their squad slightly, so they're going to stay roughly where they were. Sheffield United are going to plummet. So, I'm going Wolves win. Chelsea have spent big. And actually, it's a little bit, England speaking, it's a little bit frustrating because people like Tammy Abrahams and Mason Mount, who looked good last year, are probably going to be in way more competition for their places, so much so that they're probably not actually in the first team really for this. They're going to be a lot more bit part players, which is a shame for England in a way because they're both really encouraging players. But yeah, Chelsea signings look good. They're so kind of forward heavy now in terms of, I think they'll score a lot of goals this season.
Frank, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think Chelsea to win for sure. Wolves, Sheffield, I could see a draw. That's what I would pick if I had to pick that match, but I wouldn't. If you held a gun up to my head, Eddie, I might just say no pick and take the bullet.
and Spurs Everton, you didn't make a pick?
Yes, I like Spurs actually in that a lot.
Okay.
They're all healthy, right? I mean, it's been a while since that team's been healthy.
Yeah.
So maybe the first match, while they're all still healthy, they can win if they can get 3 points on the board.
Yep. All right. Now that wraps up the I guess then, seeing as we've picked every match in the Premier League and every match in the NFL, does anyone want to throw out their best bet of the weekend, either as a single or accumulator or parlay, I guess, for our American listeners?
Well, I've done one, Eddie, that I put in this morning that I can let you rip apart if you want.
Go for it.
Okay, so I did a 12-team parlay, which surprisingly wasn't to win that much. So I always love that right off the start when it's a 12-team and you're not even winning that much.
Can you genuinely tip a 12-team?
Do we want to?
I'll just run it through quick. And Eddie, how about you tell me where you think it loses?
I'm not opposed to like the odd big accumulator. It's right up my, like, I find it a lot of fun to follow one over the week. But I don't know if you want your betting credibility to rely on the fact that you're throwing out your 12
your 12 1-8 shots.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what it is.
Okay, throw them at me.
Chiefs,
okay,
Bills,
win.
Eagles,
Iffy, but probably win.
Niners,
win.
Arsenal,
Iffy, but probably win.
Liverpool,
win.
Chelsea,
iffy, but probably win.
Celtic,
win, but it's Celtic, so who knows? But Celtic.
England in the one-day cricket.
Well, coin toss.
Yeah, I know that's the tough one. And then Iowa State is playing Louisiana Lafayette. That's college football. And then Zverev and Osaka.
I mean, look, I don't openly disagree with any of those selections, but it's 12 things, so predicting 12 things to be right, highly unlikely, even if they're all heavy favorites. Some of those aren't heavy favorites. where you're most likely to lose. Your most likely loss is probably England in the cricket. Like that's the riskiest one because that's literally is a coin toss. Like, I
put that in there. I put that in there because it's tomorrow, correct? It's on Friday.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. So it will be your first. It will be your second thing. You just lose the Chiefs. Yeah,
and Osaka is tonight.
Okay, yeah, you lose those two things. Yeah, I mean, look, on paper it probably should win, but it's 12 events, so it won't.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I figure it's a good weekend one though, because like I said, if I can get past the England on Friday, then I have some decent things to root for Saturday, and if that goes through, then Sunday, I have some investment in watching some of the football where I don't have to put any other bets on really.
Well, why don't you try and claw back a little bit of credibility here and throw out like an actual decent tip?
Yeah.
Well, let me hear yours first.
Shall I go?
Yeah, go for it.
Pile driver in the St. Ledger.
Do you want to save that until after we've discussed the horse racing slightly? You've thrown it in there, so you're on record. Pile driver is your pick, but do you want to save the horses till we've done a bit of I guess we'll wrap up with the horse preview. Do you want to save that there?
Sure. Well, my bets kind of revolve around that. So
okay, well you'll have to do yours post. I'll do mine's easy. I'm just going to do a budget booster, simple accumulator / parlay, which is Liverpool to win, Chiefs to win tonight, Niners to win, Bills to win. That's it. No overlapping events, just nice fourfold. It is 2.7. I'm not saying, look, it's not, none of those picks are original or going against the grain. But they are, to me, it's first week of Premier League, first week of the NFL. All I want is a nice, simple bet. I get to focus on each game individually. None of those games are at the same time. And also at the same time, hopefully it wins and you get a nice little budget boost for week 2. Maybe start to be a bit more adventurous once you've doubled your betting pot. That's going to be my approach.
So Eddie knows that I love teaser bets, which Sam, you might not even know what a teaser bet is, but it's basically for football. You can tease it all the point spreads like 6, 7, or even 10, I believe.
Yeah.
So I usually do a 6-pointer. And I liked some of the ones in that, but I don't feel like reading that off because I think I had 8 teams in there. So I'm going to stick with Jamie Vardy. 2 goals or more.
Score? 2 goals or more.
2 goals or more, Jamie Vardy.
You can get Jamie Vardy to score 2 goals or more at 4-1.
I thought it'd be a little better than that, but I'll still stick with it.
He's 16-1 for the hat trick. You want to get 4s?
No. We don't get crazy.
Oh, 1 goal. So if I was going to put non-horse racing into my tip, it would be Arsenal, Chelsea and the Bills. They would be my 3 to win. But as we talk about horse racing, so that pays 2.3 to 1. And that's just the Bills outright, Arsenal and Chelsea outright as well. But going nicely on into the football, into the horse racing, I would pile on Pile Driver and I put Guyeth in there. And if you put those 5 together, it pays 19 to 1. And I think that's a really solid 5-fold for the weekend.
I think so. You're talking about Pile Driver in the St. Ledger. The big question mark, obviously Pile Driver has kind of done nothing wrong so far, and there's a lot of confidence in its camp. I still have question marks that it can stay the distance because it's just 2 furlongs further, I think, than it's ever raced. So that to me is the big question mark. I don't like backing a horse when it's unknown to stay. And so in that case, I won't have that confidence in Pile Driver. But personally, for me, the St. Ledger this year is kind of a stay away. But I can understand there's every chance that Pile Driver is the best horse in that race. But I would want to see it race over that distance first.
Yeah, Sam and I talked about this off air a little bit before. But my biggest question mark is obviously the O'Brien factor. He has Santiago in it, who he clearly likes and thinks is a good horse. and he's had several other horses race against Pile Driver. So he knows exactly what Pile Driver brings to the table. And for me, he's leaving Santiago in this race where alternatively he could have put him in the Irish St. Leger, a day or two later, where he surely would win because I don't think it's even a Group 1 horse in the Irish St. Leger that's running this year. So he's going to take that risk of potentially having a pretty easy win in the Irish St. Leger and sending him to the St. Leger. So he must think he has a pretty decent chance in Santiago. And that's my only worry, I think, is what you're saying. Maybe Pile Driver can't stay the distance, and he knows, Santiago can. He did the 2-mile race against Stradivarius. So we know he can stay. So that's my worry, is that maybe Aidan O'Brien knows exactly what he's got to go against and that he can beat it.
The Tories booked as well, right, to ride Santiago. So that's an interesting one. Interesting booking there. So Dettori must have a little bit of respect for it to have opted to take the ride. I mean, I know he would have had nothing otherwise, but he could have just...
Yeah.
He's going to Paris, right, on Sunday. So he could, and then just staying in Paris for a little bit. He could have just...
a nice night in Paris.
He could have just gone to Paris if he'd wanted to. So he obviously thinks he's got a decent chance.
Yeah, and he is riding O'Brien's horses because Ryan Moore will be in Ireland this week for the
Irish Champions Weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
the big horse there is, what is it, Sam?
The immortal Gaiath.
Exactly.
Probably not immortal, but
well, only time will tell, Eddie.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is we have to address two things here. I 100% believe in Gaiath in this race. I think it's difficult to see at the moment. Right, it's Japan and Magical as the main opposition. I don't see any reason. I don't see why Magical would reverse the form with Gaiath from their previous meeting, and I just don't see why Japan is suddenly going to turn into the horse it looked like it used to be.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. Even if Gaiath is a little bit below par, I think it still wins that race. But it is I guess the one thing, this is a big ARC prep weekend in various races across the UK and Ireland and in France. And it's probably for you, both of you, obviously you have your anti-post bet on Gaiath to win the ARC. The fact that it's gone to this race may not be the best sign for the fact that it's headed to the ARC.
So we spoke about this as well, and I'm not so sure.
We're confident, Eddie.
I actually don't think it changes much. Also, Buick doesn't have to quarantine by going to Ireland, so nothing really changes in that respect. I just think this will be a run out for Gaiath 3 weeks before the ARC. I honestly think he doesn't need to be that pushed for this either. And also, truth be told, this is Frank's point actually, is that this will be the fourth Group 1 win pretty comfortably, beating a lot of horses, got the best rating.
Hold on. It could be the fourth group. Let's not start talking in the past tense for a race.
He said it could be his fourth Group 1.
Well, I thought you said it.
You are so quick to go down on me. You are so quick to slap me.
Whoa. Hold on a second. You are mistaking me for one of your boys, Sam. I am not quick to go down on you.
But no, I don't see this as being a problem for the ARC at all. If anything, it gives me a bit more confidence that he's having another run out against pretty good competition, right? Something Enable hasn't had.
Hey, I thought Enables. I mean, we spoke last time. I guess we made mention of the fact that Enable was going to race at the weekend. It raced against a bunch of nothing. Some people have read into it and said it didn't do enough because it kind of idled out in front. I thought it went through the gears in the only way it could have done. I was reasonably impressed with it. Dettori was happy, Gosden was happy, so you just have to take it that way. And talking of Gosden horses that might be going to the ARC.
Just touching back on what Sam said, whether Gaiath will race in the ARC. I mean, if it does win its fourth Group 1, it's a pretty easy excuse then to send it to the ARC. If it kind of craps out a little bit again, the owners can say, like, listen, every Group 1 we put it in before the ARC, it won. So it won every Group 1 we put it in. We just want to give it another shot in the ARC. Obviously, it's not a big horse field, a big field horse, and that's the reason, or that's the excuse. They can make easy excuses out of it when you're on the back of having an undefeated Group 1 season previously. So I still don't see why they wouldn't just send it to the ARC. If
the reason they wouldn't, right,
Saturday.
is that you can say the reason they wouldn't is because instead of throwing it into maybe the most difficult race of the year, they could send it to Champions Day at Ascot, where there's a good chance it's facing little to no opposition. It will be favorite. It will probably win another Group 1, and then you get to have a perfect season, and they get to say that they didn't dodge the ARC, they just had other races in mind.
Yeah,
And
but
then
everyone will know is it dodged the ARC.
Maybe, but they still doesn't have that blot on its copybook, right? So, to me, all I can say is this, Mike. If it goes to the ARC again and it loses in the fashion that it lost last time in the ARC, which seems unlikely because it definitely does seem to be an improved horse. So finishing dozens of lengths back seems to be unlikely. If it does, then throw out everything it's achieved this season, honestly, because it beat an 85% fit Enable, and then it beat a bunch of other horses that for the most part are horses that take part in Group 1 races but don't win them.
No, you're crazy.
I'm not having that because, you're a hater because also like Guyeth, we've said this before, like in the Eclipse, Guyeth might have been 85% as well. That doesn't mean anything.
No. Hold on. Sorry. Let's not get into that. We can't just speculate what percentages horses are. You had a trainer say it's 85%, first run of the year. That 85% makes perfect sense. I'm not just picking Enable being 85% because it didn't win. You can't just say, "Oh, Guyeth might have been 85%."
Yeah, but they may not.
On that basis, I could say,
anything.
Well, then you're lucky, Sam, because Enable's never been better than 12%, and look at all the races it's won. So aren't we lucky it's never been fully fit?
Well, all I'd say is Guyeth's clearly been in more competitive fields in Group 1s.
You're right, and I'll say this too. I'll apply it equally. If Enable goes to the ARC and loses badly, throw out everything it's achieved this season as being pointless.
So now it's not even a good horse anymore if it loses.
No. Throw out what it's achieved this season.
Well, yeah, because it hasn't run against anything, and when it did, it lost. So it's not really. There's more for Guyeth to throw out than Enable.
It still won a Group 1.
What, the King George?
2 Group 1s, didn't it?
Yeah, 2. Oh wait, the September isn't a Group 1, is it?
The September Stakes is not a Group 1. I don't.
No, see, because I think at the end of the year, when it's all said and done, 5 years from now, it's just going to be another Group 1 in that number of how many Group 1s did it win. So no one's going to remember that, like, oh, that last Group 1, that was the one where it lost in the ARC really poorly, so we're not going to count that one. It's still going to be counted just the same.
I'll just say this: 5 years from now, if Guyeth goes to the ARC and loses in convincing fashion, we won't really be talking about Guyeth. Guyeth will reappear.
If Guyeth is still racing 5 years from now, that would be impressive.
We won't really be talking about Guyeth. It will pop up every once in a while as, like, some of the races it won will be there, and it'll be like, look at this dominant performance from 2020 when Guyeth won. But it won't be kind of figuring in the sort of discussion of sort of greatest horses of its generation or its time period. If it goes,
Eddie, if it wins,
here's my argument, though, Eddie. Here's my argument. If 5 years from now it dodges the ARC and goes to Ascot and wins again, and Sam and I go, man, that Guyeth, wasn't that the greatest horse ever? What are you going to say? No, it wasn't, because he dodged the ARC. So either way, whether he races or not, you're going to say, he wasn't one of the best that year because he wouldn't even race in the ARC in a big field.
No. If it goes to Champion Stakes at Champions Day at Ascot and wins there, if it wins this weekend and then wins at the Champions Day, it's definitely Horse of the Year, and it will get to call itself the sort of best horse of the year without doubt.
So do you say it's better than Enable? Do you personally say?
Well, no. Hold on, we're judging two different things. Will it become a better horse than Enable? No, because Enable has won 2 ARCs and a host of other Group 1s. It's won against stiffer competition than Guyeth has won yet. So assuming that Guyeth doesn't win the ARC, and also then at the same time assuming Enable doesn't win the ARC, no, that's not going to change my overall perception. Will that one of them have the better year? Of course, and been the better horse in 2020? For sure. But better horse overall? No.
Let's say Guyeth wins Ascot, Enable gets second in the ARC. Did Guyeth have a better year than Enable?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
What if Enable also wins the Arc?
Then no, because it will be
Guyeth beat Enable.
It doesn't matter. The Arc is the premier flat horse race, arguably in the world, but certainly in continental Europe, right? And winning the Arc for the third time in its career is going to put it into a status that no other horse is in. So that the only goal for Enable this year, the only reason it's been brought back is to win the Arc for the third time. That's the only reason it's still racing. Had it won the Arc last year and not finished second, it wouldn't be back this year. They've just brought it back to chase history. So if it achieves that, then you'd have to say season is a success. It could have lost every race up to the Arc, won the Arc, and you would have gone great year for Enable. But the fact that it only lost, would have only lost its sort of, reappearance in a Group 1 to a very, very good horse, then no, you would classify that as an extremely successful year.
You know who is racing in the Grand Prix de Paris? Serpentine.
It'll be interesting to see it run again.
It will be very interesting to see if it is as good as its Derby performance or if it is a one-trick pony.
It's a little bit tough to judge the Serpentine one, though, because also similarly, it's racing against, Port Guillaume. So there it's difficult to judge. And in Swoop, I know a lot of people are talking about kind of positively for the Arc, but you got Mogul as a third favorite. So you kind of know what the limit there is on Mogul, right? So even if Serpentine wins that race, it will be impossible to kind of say, oh, definitely good Derby winner. But if it loses this race, the Derby looks bad.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, that's the bigger point, I think.
Because even looking at it, like Pile Driver was in that Derby, right? And came, 11th? Finished like 15 lengths off. Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting more so for the horses behind Serpentine, I think, than the actual winner.
So my other picks for the weekend, you have Fancy Blue is racing again. And I've bet on Fancy Blue every time it's raced this year. And it's done really well its last two. So I'm going to stick with that. It's a pretty heavy favorite. I think it is right under 2-1 maybe. And it's racing against Peaceful and I forget the other horse that's racing against. But it beat Peaceful in the last race, so I think it'll stick with that. And then Guyeth, of course, I like Guyeth. So I would put those two together with Eddie's 4 picks that he had, and that would be, I think, a pretty solid bet. That would get you up to probably around 10-1.
Yeah, and I mean, also, right, we haven't spoken about Stradivarius testing itself over 1 mile 4 in the pre-Foy. So it's odds-on favorite. It's not racing against anything that on paper looks like it should be able to beat it if Stradivarius handles that distance. Obviously, it's not a question of staying. It's a question of can it race efficiently over that distance. You got Anthony Van Dyke in that race. So it's another one. O'Brien trotting out a horse that's won a Group 1 for him, but kind of hasn't done a lot since then. But if Stradivarius doesn't win this, I would say you don't send it to the Arc. To me, it's pretty simple. I know they will anyway, because obviously that's the goal of the owner. Bjorn Nielsen's going to send it to the Arc because he wants an Arc horse. But fundamentally, if it can't win this, you can't send it out into a bigger field over the same distance at the same track against just higher quality. It just wouldn't make sense. The other horse I would actually say is worth keeping an eye on this weekend too is, I'm not even sure how to say it, Rabiha, French horse racing in the Prix Vermeil. And Jean-Claude Rouget is the trainer. And Jean-Claude Rouget, big French trainer, says that apart from Love, this is the only horse that should be in the discussion to win the Arc.
Wow.
He said Love
That's
is
bold.
the clear. He said Love is the deserved favorite, but that apart from that, it's a 2-horse race as far as he's concerned between the two of them.
Well, we'll have to see about that. There actually is another good race Sunday in Nakura. Now that I remembered it, the National Stakes, or the Vincent O'Brien National Stakes. You have 3 horses in there that could be potential Guineas horses next year, with Lucky Vega, who's favored over Battleground, which is pretty interesting. So Battleground is the O'Brien horse out of Found that did really well in Royal Ascot, and then follow that up with another nice win. And Master of the Seas, who's a Appleby horse, who is also undefeated right now. So the three of them are going up on Sunday against each other, and the winner of that will probably be the favorite for the Guineas next year. So that's going to be an interesting race. Yeah.
We also missed. We didn't preview a really interesting race that took place today, which was a Logician's reappearance in the first opening race of the day today at Doncaster.
Wasn't it a 2-horse race?
It was a 2-horse race.
Literally a 2-horse race.
it was thrilling. I think the SP was 1-14, something like that. And my word, was it an impressive performance.
And if we're going to recap a little, we should probably have recapped the Kentucky Derby. We didn't recap that at all. Coming off of last week, we all predicted 'Tis the Law, and it was actually a good race. I mean, I think that's all you can ask for in a big race like that, like the Kentucky Derby, is where you have the favorite come around onto the home straight, and he's there with everything to win it with one other horse, and the other horse kind of pushed past and beat him in Authentic. So that was a good race.
Yeah, 'Tis the Law loomed up as if he was going to win the race. I mean, if you'd done in-running betting, right, and if you'd sort of looked at the odds as they came around the bend, I think you would have made 'Tis the Law a heavy, heavy favorite at that point. So the fact that Authentic kind of found another gear and 'Tis the Law sort of didn't was a little bit surprising. We'd obviously discussed a little bit of the Baffert doping controversy. I think it's a little bit sad to have a Baffert horse win the Kentucky Derby. And I hope for the Kentucky Derby's sake that it doesn't come out later on in the year that there's more doping there, just because to have the controversial disqualification the year before, then follow that up with maybe a doping scandal with this year, it just makes horse racing overall look really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we will.
Because they'll cover it up for sure if I were them. No, legitimately, if I were them and it came and it tests positive, just bury it. Because American horse racing already gets such a bad rap for all the horses dying at various tracks, that to then throw on the fact that even in the prestigious races, it's just a total mess. I mean, it would be a sorry.
Well, it looks really good for the University of Arizona because Bob Baffert is a graduate of the University of Arizona, which have the only horse racing industry program degree you can get in the country. So another nice win for the University of Arizona. But yeah, I completely agree. It was a good race, and when they hit that stretch, I definitely thought 'Tis the Law was going to pull out on top. I mean, it looked super comfortable, but Authentic definitely just found that extra gear. So the interesting part is one of Baffert's horses that ended up dropping out right before the race, 1,000 Words, had not beat Authentic, but had beat another Baffert horse, but it had done so going out to like a heavy lead early on, which is what Authentic did. So had that horse still been in the race, it would have been interesting to see if he had kind of pushed Authentic for the lead a little bit and tired Authentic out a little more, which then definitely would have set up right for 'Tis the Law. So it's interesting that one of Baffert's horses that drops out last minute could have actually impacted the Baffert horse that actually won.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, so I guess that wraps up everything we've got going this weekend. A very busy weekend. As Sam said, he's very excited that real sports are back. That's what he texted us this morning. So, yeah, I cannot agree more. I got about another, hour to go until football's back, and then a really good weekend of American football and European football. So
I guess the only thing we can say, game 4 of the Lakers-Rockets series is going on right now. It's just in the first quarter. But it is worth mentioning that tomorrow is game 7 of the Celtics-Raptors series. And that will determine if the Celtics win that series, then Sam will beat me in the head-to-head picking of this round of the NBA.
No.
Oh, he won't just beat you.
Sam the Squid.
Sam the Squid will have beaten
Sam
you.
the Squid will beat me. And not only that, he will be in a position to potentially go 4 for 4 on his picks, which, considering he picked one relatively large upset, right? The Milwaukee Bucks were the number 1 seed, the Miami Heat, the 5th seed. They're the first 5th seed to make the conference finals since, I think, the Memphis Grizzlies in 2013. So it doesn't happen that often.
The squid just knows when.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see if you can carry that form on into the next round. But we'll see. I mean, the Raptors, I'm surprised that kind of because they got blown out so badly in Game 5. I expected them to lose Game 6. So, and that, just worth saying, that might be the best playoff basketball game, for a long time. I mean, that was such a great double overtime game.
The Raptors game?
Yeah.
Do you know that neither of them scored with 2 minutes left or lower in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, that doesn't matter. To me, the intensity, sometimes the I'm not going to judge it on the execution, right? And the execution in the 2 periods of overtime was incredible. So they made up for the kind of stuttering.
Terrible finish.
Yeah, they made up for that by 2 really high quality periods of overtime.
Yeah. And now that you mentioned this, this is going to set up for a really great next podcast, because we'll have week 1 of the NFL to dissect. We'll have week 1 of the Premier League to dissect. And then we'll have Sam the Squid's NHL predictions and Sam the Squid's NBA predictions to kind of give a follow-up on.
Yeah.
Could do,
and a lot of horse racing fallout.
All right. Well, until then, boys, I'll talk to you later.
Yep. I'll go clean up my smashed painting. See you guys.
Cheerio.